Peace and Pan-Africanism, y'all. What's going on? My name is Brother Legend. If you're joining us on YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let the algorithm know you're getting some value from the live. If you're joining us here on TikTok, appreciate you stopping by. Hit the notification bell on my page. In the top right corner, you'll see the notification bell to let you know when we're going live. What's going on? What up? What up? This is a conversation we talk about quite often on this live. As a Black love extremist, I want to bring some reality to those in cognitive dissonance, but also um, every time I put up this prompt, we get a different show. Every time. With the same prompt, we get a different show every time. I'm always surprised. The topics are meant to start a conversation, not be the end all be all. But we get different conversations from different folks, different strokes. I don't know how many of y'all have seen the what's going on with this sister. Um, peace, Jen. What's going on? Peace, peace. Yeah. So the sister behind me, she's the bachelorette that chose to be with one of them, to marry her her Colombian white cocoa. You know what I'm saying? She's she likes horchata. You know what I'm saying? Wait, is horchata the one that's white? I think it is, right? I think horchata, yeah. Horchata. You know what I'm saying? Queso fresca. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I said that right, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they're getting a divorce. I don't know much about the situation. My wife kind of knows more than me, but I did see a clip of her on Wendy Williams saying that he's Colombian. There is some spice there, like trying to. Meanwhile, on Twitter, the entire conscious community is giving a big "I told you so" right now. So it's kind of wild. They say statistically, these type of marriages do last longer. Um, I would say because we live in a patriarchal society where it's easy for men like this to stay with a good job and be able to provide. And um, a lot of sisters are in places where they need someone that can be able to provide. So, which is intentional as well. We live in an environment which intentionally disenfranchises her while intentionally empowering him. So it does become a mutually beneficial arrangement. So, it does last longer. So, I get that. But at the end of the day, does it benefit our people? Is it problematic? Yeah. Nah, I first found out about horchata in Cali when I was in Cali. I didn't know what that. Nah, that's a lie. Nah, I'm capping. Cause I forgot. The Dominican people they had their own spin on it. It tastes more like eggnog though. It tasted different, but I remember they used to have it in their fridge. Um, Somebody said she was too good for him. What's going on, little gremlin? Yeah, yeah. Cali love horchata and Jamaica. I used to get it at I forgot the name of that burrito spot. It's in North Hollywood. I forgot the name. But yeah, I used to go to this burrito spot. I forgot the name. I forgot the name of that spot. It used to be outside. If you're gonna eat Mexican food in Cali, go to the spots that's outside where they fry the cheese and then they make the taco. Like they fry the cheese fresh on the grill. Like just put it on the grill and they fry it there. Shouldn't be eating cheese though. That's not the African way. I try to limit my intake, but every now and again, even the strong stumble. But Layla Africa definitely. Layla Africa and Dr. Sebi don't want us eating no cheese. I didn't get to the African diet yet. Okay. I didn't get to the African diet yet. Listen, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on it. It's a daily process. Yeah, cheese and milk. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dairy in general. Dairy in general is European, as Eurocentric. I done had to re-Africanize my spirit and my mind. I gotta get to my body next. That's I'm working on it. What love? What's going on? So yeah, we talking about are interracial relationships problematic? Can they be problematic? Can a brother and sister marry white and still claim to be pro the community? Do interracial relationships benefit our community? What does it do for us? Is it helping us? Is it hurting us? Even if it doesn't help or hurt us, do we have time to do things that don't in better our situation? Like, do we have time for that? Do we have time? Because a marriage can help our situation. So, do we have time to do things that don't benefit our situation? As our people are currently being oppressed, as things are currently going on in our communities, intentionally put there from outside communities, do we have time to not work with each other, but find time to work with those that don't seek to build with us? Do we have time? Is my question. Bring my first guest up. Thank y'all for tapping like. We're trying to get to our first 25K likes. So as long tap like. I'm gonna bring you up here and we're gonna answer the questions. Myra, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
So I'm 18. I'm mixed. I'm Dominican, Black, and Korean, and my pronouns are she, her.
Um, okay. When
My
you say
father,
you're mixed, that's more of a description. I'm asking what your race is, not what your parents did to get here.
I I'm more black. I'm darker. I'm black.
Okay.
I'm darker.
Okay. So just say you black. That's it. Go ahead. Talk to us.
I believe interracial relationships can be problematic because I've seen it. I witnessed it. When you come from two different races and two different backgrounds that deal with different issues and injustices, it's very hard for the other person to be able to understand where you're coming from and where your perspective is coming from. And sometimes those problems can get in the way and it becomes personal because it is personal. And so people take that misunderstanding and that just from the difference of personal experience and other injustices that have happened to them because of their race, sometimes the other person just can't necessarily digest that, and it becomes an issue and it becomes problematic within the marriage and within other social interactions.
Hmm. Um, I'm not quite following you there. You're saying that it becomes problematic in what way specifically?
It can necessarily create a kind of split in interactions within that person because, or like within those two people, because you kind of feel as though your story isn't being heard and your point of view isn't being heard by the other person because they can't necessarily digest what has happened to you and what experiences you've had. So I feel like that's where it becomes problematic.
So I feel like you're speaking from a neutral space as a black woman, and I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that her story isn't heard or his story
Yes,
isn't
I'm
heard?
saying her story isn't heard.
Okay. I could understand that.
Okay. But that's
Go ahead.
kind of
Answer
where
the rest of the
I'm
questions. Yes or no. Keep going.
at. Can a black man, black woman marry white and still claim to be pro-black? Honestly, I believe so because the person who you marry doesn't necessarily align with where you stand with your kind of community, if that makes sense. You can still be pro-black and still marry a white person. That doesn't take away from your support. It doesn't take away from where you stand just because you marry somebody out of your or you marry a white person.
So, can you be pro-Palestine and pro-Israel? Do you know anything about what's going on in the
Yes, I
Middle East?
do, but no,
So you can be pro-Palestine and pro-Israel?
no, not at all.
So how come you can understand that for non-black people as a black woman? How come you can understand that for them, but you can't understand that for your own people?
I'm not saying there are 100% like, I'm not saying that you necessarily become, I don't think you become anti-black because you marry a white man or a white woman.
All black people are anti-black, and we all have to work on it. But I wouldn't say that the only two options are pro or anti. What I'm saying though is being pro-black is being intentionally about prioritizing and building within your community. How do you prioritize your community? How do you prioritize Palestine and what's going on with them there, but also turn around and still have time to prioritize Israel? Like, how do you do both? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming.
In order to justify that statement, you would have to erase the history of everything that Palestine and Israel is going through and just look at them as two different people and just say, oh, well, just because you can love each other and you can both be for each other's country. Dun, 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 dun. Like, it's like there's context here. There's context between her people and his people. There's context between how she's treated and how he's treated in society. There's context between who benefits from that mistreatment of her. So that being the case, it's like, how are you going to be for your people? How are you going to be caring about that context and also being blind to that context in who you arrange to be with? You can't build a brick house with wood. You can't build a wooden house with bricks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Okay. Keep going. What's the last question?
I don't necessarily think that they benefit the black community. Interracial relationships, I don't believe that they benefit the black community that well. It's just
Okay.
I see how necessarily white people specifically within the relationship get more not necessarily exposure, but it's kind of like a kudos, like a congratulations, where as the black person in that relationship seems to suffer more because of who they're with, or the community itself just doesn't necessarily. I can't elaborate very well right now, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by any of that. I mean, usually, when one of them makes a move to marry us, their community also looks down on them for that as well. I mean, not they don't feel it as of course as much as you know, they don't think about themselves the way that we do, as far as how they're treated based on their race. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Can I chime in a little bit?
Not yet, King Smurf. We're gonna come to you after our next guest.
Okay, my bad.
Thank you, Myra. We're gonna come to you. We'll circle back to you if you're still up to it. And Shavasia, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
42, African American, she, her.
Okay. All right. Talk to us, sister.
I think that interracial, just like any other relationship, can be problematic if the people are they problematic people. I think that if they are not interested in the other person's culture, and because they may have children, and so they're going to have to understand things about them, just in case something happens to the other person, they need to be able to teach that child about where they come from, because that is a part of them. My father married a German woman when he was in the military, and the woman did not want to be a mother, and so he brought back my oldest sister, their child, and raised her by himself. She knew nothing
Why didn't
about
she
her.
want to be a mother?
As my mother said, she was a party girl, which pretty much means she liked the substances. And so,
The foster care system, the adoption system in America is filled with biracial children for a similar reason.
well, yeah, I mean, some of them use it as a form of rebellion. I'm gonna, rebel against what my family has taught me. I was speaking with
But
a
how can
woman.
you compare that level of problematic to just two problematic individuals? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, if
Like
you,
is the war in Middle East problematic? And it's like, well, that's problematic the same way, two people arguing can be problematic. It's like anything can be like it's like I'm asking you, is grass green? And you're like, anything can be green if you paint it green. It's like you're
no,
diluting
that's not the way
everything. We're
I meant
talking
it.
about
I meant as
specifically,
though, like, so
but we're talking about
we talk about
interracial
on here where
relationships
we have
specifically.
women that
We're
we
talking
have
about,
BW women that restrict
you're a little bit
access.
talking over me right now. I don't like
Oh,
that. Please don't do that. You So what I was saying was, we're talking about interracial relationships specifically. If they're not, if they're, well, and that's the thing. I didn't even say are they problematic. I said can they be problematic. And if the answer to that is yes, but your reasoning behind it is anything can be problematic, then that lets me know that you're not really answering the question. You're kind of like diluting the question down.
I mean, like I said, my answer is yes. Um, I mean, you can feel how you choose to feel about my answer, but I mean, you asked the question and I answered it.
I don't. I didn't even say how I felt about it. I just said you diluted the question down. That's what you gave was a non-answer. But if that's how you feel, okay.
So for the second one, can I BW and BM marry a white and still claim to be pro-black? I mean, they can claim to be pro-black. I mean, like you said, if the question is can, yes, they can claim to be pro-black. Sure.
You're being disingenuous.
I don't understand.
You're being disingenuous. Now you're getting into semantics. What do you think the reason I put that up there? Anyone can claim to be pro-black. The Grand Wizard of the Clan can claim to be pro-black if you answer that question. See what I mean? You keep diluting things down to like these like outer body experience. Like, can we like if you don't know what these questions are about as a black woman, if you don't understand what we're talking about in these questions, then just say that. You know what I'm saying? Because the questions are here for a reason. There's a context behind this live.
I feel like you don't like the answer to my question, as opposed to saying that I'm diluting it. Like, I've answered the question. I think that they can.
You just said that they can claim,
yeah, they
like
can
anyone
claim.
can claim. You answered the first one and said any relationship can be problematic. All you're saying is anything can anything if anything is anything. And it's like, why do you keep doing that? like, can you answer a question? Do interracial relationships benefit the community, the Black community? Let's talk about it. Let's answer the last question and let me know if you're going to beat around the bush or not. Let's see.
Do interracial? I guess you could say no. No, I don't think that they directly, but the people that are inside of the relationships can benefit the community. So you could have a Black man that is active in his
All right, but see, you're doing it again. You beat around the. She's 3 for 3. Yo, we're talking about the relationship. How you gonna break it down to the individual can benefit the individual? You're not in a relationship with yourself. Like, come on now. Relationships. We talking about the relationship. Can the relationship between a Black person and a non-Black person benefit what is going on in the Black community? What ways do the Black community need things to work a certain way? Like as Black people are currently, do you believe Black people are currently being oppressed? Do you believe there's any type of unique Black struggle going on in the world?
Yes.
Okay, so that means that when there is struggle, when there is conflict, there is a need for resolution or solution, correct?
Yes, of course you would need solution.
Okay, so when we talk about what will benefit the community, we're talking about them in context of their oppression. What would benefit the Black community with two people, one from the community and one from outside the community? How would it benefit our people today?
I mean, we have worked with other people outside of our community to do things within our community that helped us. So I'm not going to say that a YT or a Mexican or a German or, whatever.
Name one thing. Name one thing that they did to help us.
Well, I mean, if you're familiar with the Black Panther Party, they mixed with indigenous.
Did that help us or did it help them?
The indigenous community?
Did it help us or did it help them?
They got the programs going. The WIC
and
program.
What did those programs seek to do? I know about the 10-point program. We can talk about it. What did it do?
They were feeding hungry Black children before school.
Okay. And so feeding hungry Black children, does that make you pro-Black?
I mean, you don't think food is essential?
Food is essential to eat. Everyone needs to live. I understand that. But does that make someone pro-Black? Do you know the difference between pro-Blackness and anti-racism?
I mean, if you're doing something to uplift the Black community, then wouldn't that be considered pro-Black?
If somebody were to beat up somebody else and give them an ice pack, did they do something to benefit them?
I guess you could say after the fact.
That's disingenuous once again.
You said that they benefit them.
I'm gonna quote Malcolm X. I'm gonna quote Malcolm X. Since you want to, we can bring up the scholars. Malcolm X himself said, if I put a knife in somebody's back and pull it out a few inches, I didn't do anything to repair the wound. Even if I took the knife all the way out and gave him a Band-Aid, I did not do anything to benefit that person. I'm only repairing. So anti-racism and helping.
We can't partner with anyone outside our community to help uplift our community. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that feeding our children is not uplifting our community. That is repairing a major injustice that has been done to our community. It's something that we need to do. It's something that needs to be done. But we have set the bar so low that just eating, just eating is beneficial. Thank you. Oh, you're one of us now. You're pro-Black. Like we're doing, we do too much. Like this eating. Are we serious? The bar is that low?
Providing a healthy meal prior to them getting instruction absolutely is an essential thing.
I think you need to listen to more Malcolm X. I think you need to listen to more Dr. Amos Wilson. I think you need to check out Black Powernomics, and I think you need to check out Dr. Amos Wilson's The Blueprint for Black Power. I think you even need to check out Malcolm X's Organization of Afro-American Unity, where eating matters. Yeah, we can agree on that. But the problem is that we have set the bar so low that just seeing us as human beings makes us feel like everybody's on our side. And that is the bare minimum.
I mean, I'm open to reading, different, peer-reviewed studies and scholarly things. I just,
Kwanzaa, on the third day of Kwanzaa, actually second day of Kwanzaa, we celebrate Kuji Chakulia, which means self-determination in our community. Self-determination. Self-determinate, not outside the community determination, self-determination. That was just last week. We celebrated Kuji Chakulia. So, again, being pro-Black has been defined by our scholars as us being able to uplift ourselves. It has never come at the hands of someone outside of our community. Appreciate the gifts, y'all. But all right, I'm gonna move on. We're gonna go to the next guest. King Smurf, talk to us. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. King Smurf, are you here?
Hold on. I'm in. How you doing? So I'm 42. I'm Black. I'm a he. I want to say I thank you for letting me on to answer these questions.
Talk to us.
I do gotta say this though, and I hope I don't piss you off, but I hope you let me answer the questions because that young lady, she has some good answers. But let me answer your questions. Can interracial relationships be problematic? It's to
No.
who is it problematic to? Is it to the couple or is it to the people on the outside? Because I'm married to a white woman, and it's not a problem to us. It's a problem to other people.
All right. Yeah. When we talk about how it can be problematic, just because you ignore the problems doesn't mean it's not problematic to y'all. But if I want to give you that, I sure will. Go ahead. You can have that.
Thank you.
But when we're talking about the community, we're talking about your children. We're talking about our people as a whole. So
Okay.
it's when two people join, it is about more than just the two of them. There are families involved, there are communities involved, and there's children involved.
I got to turn around and react this, but is there really? Because as a Black man, if I make it and I turn around and I help another Black man make it, because
what?
I'm married to a white woman, does that take from that?
Make what?
Whatever it is. So let me tell you what I do. I work for social services, right? And when these young Black men, 18 and older, come in and they have no guidance, I reach out to them. I give them the stuff that I know. I try to help them. I try to help a young Black man get on his feet. But because I'm married to a white woman, does that take away from me?
Who pays your check?
Okay, so let's go beyond that. I also volunteer.
That's it
No.
right there.
I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to add on to what I do. You're right. Social services pays that check. I also volunteer my time. Okay, let's move past the job. Let me tell you about my free time that nobody pays me for. I also work with an after school center. I don't get paid for this. Primarily young Black men who have either mom in the house or dad is in jail, right? And I tell them my story as a Black man. Doesn't matter who I'm married to or who's standing next to me. I was still born a Black man and still went through Black man problems. So I reach out to them. I tell them this is what you could do. Love is separate from who you are. I help my community. Right? I want to see Blacks do good. Why
First
is
of all,
it?
Blacks is wild. Be careful saying that, but continue.
Well, I want to see African Americans do good. Right? I want to see us as a people do good. I want to see people stop feeding us these stereotypes and put them down. Right? So I'm going to go on to your next question. Can a black man or black woman marry white and still claim to be pro-black? Absolutely. I love my people. Just because I love the
Except you
woman
don't
who
love them
I'm
at
with,
home. You love your
huh?
people, but you don't.
I got a child by a black woman. Love is separate, right? You
But you're
can't
not with
love
one right
makes you
now.
do
So
crazy
if
things. So I
nah,
don't have
nah.
to be with a
Mm-mm.
black woman to be pro-black.
Love makes you do crazy things is a Eurocentric concept. That version of
That's
love that you just
bro,
described,
that is
that version of love, hold on now. See, that's the thing. You gotta let me
I'm
talk too,
sorry.
King Smurf.
Yep, yes,
So
sir.
that version of love that you just described was created a little over 200 years ago by a man named Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who said that love is basically defined by being able to put emotions over all logic. So you can put your emotions over logic. That's when we came up with terms fall in love. William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. There's things where their families are at war, at odds with each other, and she can still fall in love with someone that really wants her. His whole family wants her unalived, and look what happens in the end. This happens in the end. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not unalived, thank goodness. But
No, I
what I'm
get you,
trying to say
but
is it ends up in their demise, and it doesn't end up benefiting Juliet's people. Don't end up benefiting nobody, to be honest. But
why does
if
my
you're if
love have to benefit the people? It's my love. It's my happiness. It's the person that made me happy. Why does that
all
have
right,
to
and so
benefit anybody else?
let me introduce you to the African version of love before the Europeans co-opted it and made it that head over heels, uh, only care about how you feel in the moment, an individualistic form of love. Let me tell you about Ubuntu. Do you know what that word
Okay.
means?
No, please
Ubuntu
educate me.
Ubuntu is the Bantu example of love that was given to us by our ancestors. Ubuntu and other forms of love that existed on the continent of Africa before colonization all included a communal aspect, meaning love was decided by what was in the best needs of the tribe. Now, some people are going to not I'm gonna give this disclaimer. You cannot look at African history through a Eurocentric moral lens, and I'm gonna continue. So,
Okay.
part of what would go on if men were at war, and there was more women in the village than the men, then the men would marry more than one wife in Africa.
Okay.
If
Okay.
there was famine and the women couldn't survive, because women retain less water, then the men would marry more than one man would marry a wife,
Okay.
meaning they would do what was in the best interest of their people,
For their
even
village.
in how they married. And marriage was not seen as just an emotional love arrangement, and it's still not today. We pretend that love is the reason we get in relationships, and it is the reason why some of us get in relationships. But I ain't never watched divorce court and seen them split the love in half when the marriage was over. I'm
That's
sure
a
these two
fact.
are not gonna he's not gonna give 50% of his love, and they're gonna split 50-50 with the love. It's a business arrangement. It's a financial arrangement, and it affects generations moving forward. So why would you say you will buy black, you will spend time and resources in the black community, but you won't put your value where you value yourself? You won't put your time and resources personally in your personal life towards building and uplifting a black woman. That's, to me, that's
That's not what
hypocritical.
I said.
And
That's not what I said at
here's
all
the other
though.
thing. You're not doing it. But here's the other thing. Pro-blackness, defined by Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Amos Wilson, John Henry Clark, the list goes on, can be summed up as prioritizing one's actions and values. Prioritizing, meaning putting first one's actions and values, both what you believe and what you do, with what's in the best interest above self-interest and above the interests of other communities, of building within the black community. So prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of an action word, building within the black community. You are
But
not building
it's
within the
my
black
heart.
community when you go outside of the community.
But it's my heart though. right? So
That's
everything you
Eurocentric. I'm
said,
telling you, your colonizer gave you that.
I've never been colonized. I've never been oppressed.
Yeah, you
I'm not
have.
from no
If you're a
colony.
black man, yes, you have.
You tell me, how am I oppressed? There are more programs for black people than there is mostly anybody else, other than the immigrants that's coming in and
No, that's
really
cap.
getting shit. That's not a
That's
cap.
cap. Yes,
That's
it is,
no.
because
See,
the number
I
one
gotta argue with you on
beneficiaries,
that.
the
That's
number one
not cap.
beneficiaries of welfare,
Are
affirmative
not black
action.
people. They are white people. I work
All
for
right,
welfare.
so then don't say that those programs are helping us.
Those programs were created for the black communities. Let's go back.
Nah,
Tell me they were
nah,
created for the white community.
nah.
Tell me
They
welfare was
wasn't.
created for the white community.
If I do something for you, right? If I'm doing something for you and you're thirsty, let's say you're thirsty, right? And I'll create a program to make sure I get you water, and I give it all to your neighbor, and your neighbor is getting more water from the program I invented to make sure you got water, make sure you can drink. And if for some reason the program is co-opted by your neighbor and your neighbor gets more water than you, how would I just continue to let that program run
Brother,
and not make sure? If I cared about you, I would say, oh, nah, this is wrong. That's not why I invented it. I'm gonna make laws. I'm gonna make change. I'm gonna make sure that it goes to the people that I meant for it to go to. And it doesn't. It doesn't. Brothers and sisters have
it
complained
goes
their
to
taxes are weaponized
everybody.
against them.
The
What?
taxes, so we got to get over that, right? Taxes and all this, it's not weaponized against us, because
It
why don't
is.
we use it like they use it, right?
Because
Why? So answer me this, right? Why is there a Chinese store in every neighborhood and you've never seen anybody own a Chinese store but a Chinese person? Have you ever been in any Chinese store that's not owned by Chinese? Every
it's
few
because
years
there's
they
a
flip them. That's because their community is
you know
tough.
why it's in our neighborhoods? You know why there's Chinese stores in our neighborhoods?
No, not why. All right, let me cut that out. Not the why it's in our neighborhoods, but you
Oh,
have
okay,
a
so
Chinese
context
store
doesn't
in your
matter.
neighborhood, right? You
Mm.
have a Chinese store in your neighborhood. You've never seen it owned by anybody other than a Chinese person. Why?
You know why?
Please tell me.
Because the black dollar stays in black hands in less time than any other
Brother, you're not
community.
answering the
And
question.
I was getting to your answer. I'm not sure what you mean. Like, how you know I wasn't answering the question that fast?
Because you started with black dollars and black hands. That's not the answer. Their community
So what
sticks
is the
together.
answer? Because
The answer
I'll
is
give you
the answer is their
uh-huh.
community sticks together. Black dollars
That's not
don't
the
stay
answer,
in
bro.
black hands. What you mean? When they get their money, they get it to the next Chinese person,
Amen.
and then the next
Amen.
Chinese person, and then the next Chinese person. When blacks get money, we go from black to whoever else is going to get us more money. Let's be real. That's a fact.
That's
Right?
not a fact.
You've never seen a gas station that's owned by the Indian people, owned by a black person, because they'll be damned if they sell that shit to somebody that's not their kind.
You never see a Chinese store, and you'll never see
A Chinese restaurant?
Indian. You'll never see a Chinese restaurant or an Indian gas station in a white community like you'll see them in a black community.
That's not true. That is not true. That
You
is
won't.
not true,
No,
brother.
you won't. You
That
see
is.
them in our
There are
communities.
5 Chinese stores in every neighborhood. I don't care what the neighborhood is.
No,
It could
it's
be the
not.
Ku Klux
No,
Klan
it's
town.
not. They don't eat Chinese food
Whoa,
like we do, because
brother.
Chinese people know that you will not see a Chinese
Oh,
hair salon in a white community. You won't
you are
see that.
so
You're not
wrong.
going to see it.
You are so
What?
wrong. Go to
Because
Alabama into those racist neighborhoods, right? I would say a few, but I can't think of the one that I really want to say. And I've been down there, right? And this place is like Clansville. There is a Chinese hair salon, there's a Chinese nail place, and there are 4, because I counted because it was so crazy. There are 4 Chinese restaurants, but they can't stand the
is that 4 or
Chinese,
5?
nor can they stand the black. Brother,
They
that is a
don't let.
fact.
No, they're Asian owned shops and Indian owned bodegas and things like that. Mostly in our community, it is proven fact, because they make sure to set it up that way. They don't want people siphoning wealth out of our community. And for you to say that people that siphon wealth out of our community is an example of our innate, because you're saying black people, you didn't say like people that don't have money, people that can't
I thought we
don't
were
have
talking about the
financial
black
literacy.
community.
You're putting it on a people's race, which
I
lets us
thought we
know
were
how you
talking
look
about
at
the black
it
community,
lets us
though.
know how you look at your own people, and that's all we needed to know. Now we know why he's with a snowciopath. You feel me? That's why his wife looked like that.
Activate. Let me just activate real quick.
All right,
Holy Spirit, activate, activate, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Thank God you guys got rid of that bunny hopper. Hello, hello, and welcome in. You guys are on the pause tonight, and we appreciate it. But first and foremost, let me just say, I need you to get active and tap, power tap that screen. Let's get to 50K. Power tap that screen to 50K. Share the live. Invite your friends, your frenemies. Invite your damn enemies. But make sure that you are subscribed here and on YouTube for Brother Legends Live. Don't forget to join Discord at b1initiative.org. And I need you guys to be great and make sure Brother can elevate. And go ahead and donate to Bringing Down Babylon. $1, $2, $20, but we need 1,000. You guys tune in. I'm tapping out. Y'all tap up.
All right, appreciate you, Sister D, and thank y'all for the Panther pause. If anyone up here triggers you, whatever, you know what I'm saying, you don't like what's being said, feel free to send the Panther paws up, and we'll get rid of them and move on to the next guest. That's how we do it. We're not here to trigger brothers and sisters and create any type of rage content. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that weird stuff. But we do want to be able to talk about some of these nuanced topics. Let's go to the next guest. Tanya Love, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Peace, Queen.
How
Do you
you
want to
doing?
answer the questions?
Yeah. Yes, I would. First, black, female, 50. And the questions you have up here is, I can't see them.
Okay, it says, can interracial relationships be problematic?
Yes, they can. And the other one is, can a black or white, no. Can a black woman or man marry a white T and still be pro-black? No. And then it says, does interracial relationships benefit the black community? No. One thing I do want to ask, because a lot of people seem to have the pro-black thing confused. To you, tell me, because I listen to you. What is pro-black to you, if you don't mind? Because I know
Yeah,
what it
absolutely.
is, but I want you to say.
Yeah, a lot of us, and that's the thing, a lot of us that have a high racial self-esteem, as Marcus Garvey puts it, does understand on an emotional level what pro-blackness is. But to put it into words, prioritizing meaning your focus, your goal, what you're doing, your purpose, prioritizing your actions and values with what's in the best interest of building, meaning doing something, organizing, building within the black community.
Exactly.
You can build with just a family, join together with a brother or sister and start building there in the home. The family structure is where community begins. Or you can work towards educating brothers and sisters, build an institution. We need hospitals, we need grocery stores, we need distribution centers. We don't have black institutions like universities. We need all of these things to build our people up, and definitely re-Africanizing and connecting back with the continent that they trying to steal from us for so long, but still lives on in the hearts and in the culture of many, even African Americans, despite how many of them want to be, considered Indian now. But prioritizing. And then the other part I want to highlight is actions and values, meaning what you do and what you believe. One of the conditions of multi-generational trauma brought on by slavery that affect and plague our community today
Dr. Joy DeGruy talks about it. She calls it post-traumatic slave syndrome. One of the effects is cognitive dissonance, meaning we understand, we believe things. We believe the world is racist. We believe the world is anti-black. We believe that we go through things uniquely as black people, but we act as if it's not happening. Because in this world, you have to act as if it's not happening to you. You have to see what happened to Trayvon Martin and go to work the next day. You see what happened to George Floyd and go and act, and you better not bring it up at work. You know, it's going to make things awkward. That's unprofessional. So you have to act as if none of this is going on. And some of us have internalized that so much that we create what psychologists call a sub-self. And we actually believe that we're no longer oppressed, like the brother that was just up here now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of black men, especially black men who want to be so pro-black, but then they don't understand you pro-black, okay, but then you marry a non-black woman and you create life. You're watering down black. So how is that being pro-black? You're watering down our people, our community. You mixing us. If you give it next 10, 20 years, our race is going to be so diluted. We're probably not even going to exist at the rate we're going now. So
I would say, sister, I try to keep I hear what you're saying. And it does take 3 generations. After 3 generations, you kind of you lose us. And not only just because you no longer have the phenotype, but because society will then start to treat you as you're not one of us, and you'll begin to internalize that. But I would say we don't have to take it there. We don't have to take it all the way to genetics. Our genetic survival is not at risk. As a people, Africa is the youngest continent on Earth. There are more young people getting it on in Africa than anywhere else on the planet. So in sub-Saharan Africa, by the way, the most Bantu regions of the world are multiplying heavily. So we're not, we don't have to worry about dilution, but we do have to think about, socially, how, interracial marriages and in the current, I'll quote Dr. Neely Fuller, you can't even be friends with these people. You can't even be friends with them because there's no friendship without justice. How is there's no justice for you, but you're going to turn around and be friends? They benefit from the fact that there is injustice towards you, and you're going to turn around and say that you friends? Y'all, there's no friendship if that's like saying the CEO of a Fortune 500 company just happened to fall in love with an intern. You know what I'm saying? We understand it when it's in the corporate world. They not just lovers. They didn't just fall in love. He has power over her. He has power over her ability to provide. He has power over her in society, in his pocket, in his wallet. So he can fire her if they break up. She knows that. So she's really consensually, taking part in something that, could end up in her demise. And so at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, these interracial relationships play an important part in socially how we interact with them more than genetically. I think we need to look at, we are still being oppressed by these people. Why are y'all so quick to turn around and fall in love? That's kind of wild.
Yeah. And I hope I didn't offend anyone or you, especially because I listen to you as often as I can, with saying they're watering down our race. That's just how I feel. But I do apologize if anyone was offended by me saying that. And thank you for letting me speak every time I try to speak. But thank you for your information. I really appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you, sister. Thanks for coming up. All right. Next guest, Shaka, what's going on?
Peace, y'all. Peace. Y'all already know 20. Black, proud, he, him. Let's get it popping, man.
Yeah, talk to us.
Ooh, Lord, that last brother. Ooh,
I know
Lord.
it be us, man.
Ooh, Lord.
It be us, bruh.
Good Lord. It hurt my soul. It hurt my soul. Peace, Sister D. Can't, well, we know number one. It's true. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, this the thing. And I'm going to touch on, like, since now I could say for me, mostly being from, like, the younger side of things, I see a lot of mixed race, biracial people, especially when I was in school. I used to see a lot of them. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, me growing in what they would call the hood, you know, mixed. I when I now that I'm on TikTok, then I see how mixed, how biracial people are. You know, like saying, "Oh, we don't have our identity," or it's hard for us to choose one community. It's like, bro, like a while back when I was growing up, y'all knew y'all was black. Now all of a sudden, y'all don't know that y'all don't know what y'all want to be anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I can't say it's just recent because it's like that throughout history. We saw how the mulattoes felt about the Haitians, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. But you know, I be looking at like with biracials, you know, I got biracial friends, and they will tell you out their mouth, you know, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Because you only need 10% of black to be considered black. So I think the problem now is it just ain't like with the spouses. It creates a problem with the children. Where the children, you know, so systematically has been destroyed, and you know their white side of the family hides so much, gonna hide so much key information from them. Cause you know, let's be honest, that white side of your family, like with the Kaepernick in his documentary on Netflix, his white side was so reluctant to even let the man get braids, bro. Just get braids, cause back then if you had braids, you were quote unquote a thug, which don't make sense, you know. So it creates a lot of problems for not only the spouses, it creates problems for the offspring as well. And I think when we correct it, you know what I'm saying, we can be, you know what I'm saying, maybe it's not that we gonna disregard the biracial brothers and sisters. It's just, you know what I'm saying, we ain't gonna we can't allow that one parent of the enemy to enter inside the slave theater. So
I know.
man,
Yeah, I hear you. It does compromise them a little bit. And to that, I would say we got to deal with them on a individual basis. Is if they got it up here, you know what I'm saying? That's what Dr. Umar talks
yeah,
about too. You know, I know some of us are people that, you know, so I would say when it comes to Umar, a lot of brothers and sisters got to eat the meat and spit out the bones. He does regurgitate a lot of what Marcus Garvey and a lot of the early Pan Africans say. And one thing is, what makes you a Pan African, what makes you an African, is your phenotype, meaning do you have visual melanin? Your genotype, meaning do you have ancestry from the continent? And then one of those matter. Like you have to have one of those to answer the last question. Do you identify full time as Black or African?
yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? Those that can't identify full time, and even those that do identify full time that are biracial, they might still not be able to let go of the
That
fact
white
that
side.
like it'd be hard. I haven't met many. The ones that have a white T father, they can let that go. They can let it go.
But the
The
mother,
men that have a white T father, I've noticed, are more willing to be like, nah, yeah, he's an op. It's cool. You know, that's pops, but he ain't coming to the promised land. But I've noticed that, especially when it's a biracial white T mom, oh man, that's when it's like I'll be seeing them go back and forth with them people, you know, them thin lit people trying to convince them of stuff, and I'll be like, that's because you still feel like you could save them. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and that probably tied back into what you said about Dr. Williams Francis. I hope I'm saying her name right. Who said,
Francis Cress Welsing,
yeah,
yeah.
who said the thing about emotional incest. Like maybe that mother role, they still feel that way with the white mothers, because most of the time, from what I've seen from my predicament, is that these white mothers live. Like, I ain't saying they got the same struggle as me, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause she's still white, but you living in my neighborhood, I seen welfare, all that. So,
Mm-hmm.
same thing probably happens in that household. But it's just but the difference is if that black man puts his hands on that white woman and she decides to tell, it's game over. Game over. Game over.
Yeah.
Uh can a black man and woman marry white and still claim to be pro-black? Nah, that's hypocrisy, bro. How can you, like somebody said in the comments earlier, you sleeping white but you preaching black? Like, come on, bro. That don't make sense. And I got a lot of homeboys like that, brother, from earlier. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm.
one white chick. Her name was Christina. They used to swear to God to try to get me to cross over. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, you can still be down. You know what I'm saying? But come on, man. No, bro. No, bro. No, but especially when she told me ancient Kemet don't matter to my face. Oh, hell no.
What?
Yeah, like,
Oh, that's
it
wild.
was wild, bro. And so I was like, bro, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said last time, like somebody just said, you seen what happened to Jonathan Majors. You seen what happened with OJ. You seen it happens throughout history. You'd have heard of the stories of the ancestors that's been killed over false lies from white women masters. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
and it ties into the black women too. You know what I'm saying? Because Derek, you can't invite Derek. You know what I'm saying? If we plotting, you know what I'm saying? Derek ain't coming in. It don't matter how many hot tips he wearing. No matter how many times say keep hope alive. Yeah, you stay outside. Once you in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so like you can't claim to be pro black and you sleeping with the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like it, let's tie into with the Muslims brothers for real. Like when they say
Mm-hmm.
that the prophet came back to bring justice to both races, we really got to look at the real definition of justice. Justice is the reward for good and the punishment for evil. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he did come to bring justice to both races, but it ain't the justice that people think that it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I hear that.
And then a lot of these, and you could tie like this with a lot of the, you know what I'm saying, brothers be, you know what I'm saying, snow dipping. They rat out their own community over the white women. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying. Government just throw them out in front of them. Say, I give you hers. You just go in, just tell me, oh boy, I got you, man. I says I was the snitch.
Uh-huh.
And it is wild, man. It's just wild at this point. And
That's the point. That's the point. What the white tea, what the frosted female does to what their role in snow supremacy, their role is to disarm brothers specifically. That's how they work. They have like a hypnosis that they put over us, and they say, "I'm not like the rest of them. I'm different." You ever see Get Out? That's what she was doing the whole time. I'm not. No, no. My parents. They're kind of controversial, but no, not me. I'm one of the good ones. We're all good. And so they disarm us, and then they compromise us, and then that's what happened with Jonathan Majors. He fell for it. He was disarmed. He thought he let his guard down, and then there she goes. She turns out, haha, surprise, like Scooby Doo. I really am one of them. Like, you know, So.
And then, like with the relationships benefiting the black community, you like it's not even like we can look at different types of relationships. We can look at spousal relationships. We can look at friendships. We can look at accomplishments. If you watch Snowfall, we seen how Franklin Saint, for example, trusted the CIA agent, and look where it got Franklin Saint in the end. You know what I'm saying? Look where it got his mother in the end. Even though I ride with the sister, her heart was in the right place. Her heart was in the right place. I would have did the same thing, but
Mm.
like, and with the friendships, one thing I done noticed, like the, like they with white friendships. I'm gonna keep it real, bro. They turn okay, like they act like barbarians, like especially when they drink.
Be careful, man. You can't say
Oh
certain
my,
things on TikTok,
my
but yeah.
bad. I I gotta be remembering the whole back, but they act wild. I'm gonna say,
Uh-huh.
they act like the ancient Europeans. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that
ancient
ancient
I
Europeans.
can't, that's facts.
They act like the
Yeah,
ancient
ancient
Europeans.
Europeans, yeah.
They act like the ancient Europeans, and then we get around them. They influence us, and we shit go AWOL. Everybody, oh no, man, it was Saquon, man. He did it, and then the brother in jail, the brother getting beat. You know what I'm saying? Or like with instances where like black people will hang out with their white T friends, and then they end up dead. It's
Mm.
cases of that. They end up dead, and don't nobody know what happened.
Unalived.
Yep. I mean, oh my god.
Be careful. Every time you see F1 in the comments, that's because you done said something that you're not supposed to say on TikTok.
Oh god. They've been unalive, you know what I'm saying? And just none of the white T friends know what happens. And then, you know what I'm saying? Everybody let off scot free. That like it don't make no sense, even though we know what happened. We know why the black brother or sister is unalive. And then what accomplishes you got like these white tea conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying? I think they heavily, but this ties into the FBI with the divide and conquer, like not wanting to see a black Messiah. I forgot the name of the head of the FBI at the time, but I remember.
You talking about Herbert Hoover?
Yeah,
No.
Herbert Hoover.
Yeah, Hoover,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we seen how he did. I think MLK, Malcolm,
Yup.
the great honorable
Patrice Lumumba.
the great.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yep. The
Wait, he
late
had something to do with Kwame Nkrumah too, right? Indirectly, of course,
indirectly,
but yeah.
but the late great Fred Hampton. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And it's like, and then they gonna try to destroy their image after they long gone. So like with these conspiracy theories, I be saying on long, be coming up with the wildest conspiracies, throw it out to the black community. The black community won't be accepted so bad. They're like, oh yeah, man, I agree, man. They believe now all of a sudden all our sheroes and heroes. Some of them inside agents, some of them was financed by this, financed by that. It's like to divide, bro. It's to
Yeah,
divide and got us
I heard that.
and have us up against one another. Then you teach the next generation that your so and so is an agent, but you got have that know the truth. It's still gonna have us fighting against each other. Now you got them fighting for the opposition, and the only reason these conspiracy theories people on their side is so they can use this fight on the front line because they just white T people top ain't trying to distribute what they got to the middle class white T people because ain't nowhere in hell it's white T people on the bottom.
I hear you, Chaka. I gotta go to the next guest. We've been going for a minute.
Oh God, my
But yeah,
bad. I was done.
yeah.
I was done.
Appreciate you as always. You and Tanya got the first 2 A's of the day. Y'all know we be grading people up here, and keep tapping like, y'all. We need to get to 50K likes. So as you listen along, we got 10K left, about 10K left. So just keep tapping like as you listen along. When we get to 50K likes, I'm going to open the comments back up, and we're going to keep the show rolling.
Peace,
Let's go
yeah.
to the yes. One love, brother. Appreciate you. T, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Hi. It's my first time up, so thank you for having me. Hello to all the other panel guests. I'm 37. No, I'm 36. Black, pronouns are they, them.
All right, talk about it.
I say no. Or I say, can interracial relationships be problematic? Yes. Can a black woman marry white, and still claim to be pro-black? No. Do interracial relationships benefit the Black community? No. So yes. So yes, no,
All
no.
right.
And so I'm just going to speak from a place of personal experience. So I am married to a white man. We're married on paper only. And so when we first were together, I believe I was 26.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand, I didn't understand microaggressions, internalized depression, anti-blackness, any of that. And so as I got older and I started to learn, I realized that what I was dealing with was just a very racist person. And was like the amount of fighting that we were doing, the amount of educating him that I was doing, the amount of educating myself that I was learning, undoing and unlearning the anti-blackness that I had within myself. It was draining. Um, and so that leads me to the next question in being pro-black. If I don't have anything left to give even to myself, I don't have anything left to give to my community. And so I don't feel like I was able to, in those moments, to even love myself as a Black person fully.
Mm.
And so if I'm constantly having to send articles to somebody to say, look at me, look at my children, see them, I don't feel like it's possible to be pro-Black in a relationship where somebody doesn't even fully see me for who I truly am as a full Black person. Um, and then, so does it benefit the Black community? So I am a social worker and I have my own private practice. And so I do mental health therapy. And I mostly work with, right now, do I have any white clients? No, all of my clients are Black. Um, and when I say fighting with this man was exhausting, I mean fucking exhausting. There was at one point, I remember in our marriage, where he literally was calling me angry almost every day. And I'm like, do you understand the the implications of calling a Black, and at the time I identified as woman, do you understand the implications of calling a Black woman angry as a white man? And I'm sending him article after article because it's clear that he doesn't understand. And so I didn't have energy to give to my clients and give back to the Black community, because that's why I do the work that I do, is to help heal Black people in the community so that they can go on and do what they need to do in order to give back to the people in their community, which is, again, in the Black community. And so I don't believe that any of that can be done being with being with a white person. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that for myself. Um,
Mm.
and so that's where I land with that. And again, I'm just going to speak for myself and my personal experience, because that's what I experienced. And being young, and now 10 years, 11 years later, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing back then? So yeah, that's where I land.
Okay. Well. Wow. Sounds like you learned the hard way, but
I mean, I was knee deep
that's
in it.
yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah, I hear you. I can't imagine that, and you made me think just now. I don't think I've ever called my wife angry. She right here. I call you angry. I never said like, yeah. I never said that. Like I say upset. Like like you seem upset. Is everything all right? Like what I'm saying. I'll say something like that. Like I'm upset with you. Are you upset? Like I'm upset that this happened. I'll say that. I don't think I can't recall being like, you're just angry. Like, like that's wild. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real though. That's real. Well, appreciate you sharing that story with us, and also gotta give you an A. Somebody said welcome back in the comments. Hey, nah, hold on, because some of the sisters didn't want to welcome Jonathan Majors back, but y'all gonna welcome a sister back. I see how y'all moving.
That's funny. Yeah, and I mean, at this point, like going back into dating again, I'm like, I will only date a Black man. Like, I will never.
Yeah.
And I had somebody challenge that, and they were like, "Really, you won't?" No, the fuck. Like, no, I can't. I won't. Like, I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
be educating, teaching, and helping somebody understand what it's like to be Black in America. Like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
That's not
Right.
my job. You don't pay me enough.
Yeah. Well, I hope the ancestors send you an intentional brother, because even in our community, not all brothers are intentional enough, in supporting their community. So be intentional, and that's what you're going to attract for real. Thanks
Awesome.
again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the next guest. Black Swan, what's good, sister?
I'm doing well. Peace to you, Brother Legend. How are you doing?
Peace. I'm well. Talk to us. What's going on?
So, I know I've answered these questions before, but I just kind of want to respond to question number 2 because I think that people conflate anti-racism and what being pro-Black is a lot. And I hear it all the time in conversations. And it's really frustrating because those are two completely separate things. And like it's imperative that we understand that as Black people. They are involved in every aspect of our lives globally, right? They have a hand in everything. When we talk about prioritizing what we do for our community, the progression of our community, that is for us and us only. We need the ability to do that with, void of their involvement. And, I know it bothers them and it makes them angry, but I think that that's so important for us. There's something like when you're having a conversation, a discussion about your experiences unapologetically, because we're constantly holding back, like you're talking about cognitive dissonance, right? We are constantly holding back from being able to express the way that we feel and how we want to be able to respond to being oppressed or just to being Black, period. You know what I'm saying? Like just to being Black, period. Like we live in a very anti-Black, anti-African world. And we need that. It's so therapeutic. Just one conversation with a room full of Black people talking, even if we're getting into arguments or disagreements or whatever the case is, right? It just feels so different than being one white T person could enter the room. You know what I mean? And that just changes everything. So when we talk about anti-racism, like white T people have done what they feel is support. I'll word it that way. They've done what they think is supportive of us, right? But that's not what their job is, right? And I think that that's why this whole like ally thing, me personally, I don't believe in it because we've been living side by side with y'all, and we know that some of y'all maybe feel like you don't want to be, racist, but you're still watching things happen, and you're still watching and sitting back while systems, you may not be treating us negatively, like on an interpersonal level, but you're still standing back and watching these things happen, right? Or you ignore them, or you benefit from them, just that alone, right? And I think that like they need to understand we don't need you here. Y'all need to talk to each other. You know what I mean? If you have somebody that understands oppression and you have somebody that understands, what it's done to Black people, and they feel a way and they're angry with their counterparts, their white T counterparts, then you need to go talk to them. Do the work within yourself, and you need to go talk to them. But those are two completely separate things, and people conflate it all the time. We were on a panel with somebody that had said, well, my white T grandmother, she donated money to Black children. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, like they got some money, but they're still dealing with these systems. When that money runs out, they're still dealing with these systems, right? Has she ever gone to other people that look like her in her community to have these conversations? To say, hey, you know what, we need to start moving differently because we're seeing the oppression. We're seeing, what this is. And this is I don't want to get into that part, but that was a conversation that we had yesterday on with somebody on Librarians Live who was very confused about, just what being pro-Black was and what anti-racism is. And there's no way, people use the excuse of love being the thing that unifies them, but we live in an anti-Black world. You know what I mean? Where Blackness has to constantly yield itself to whiteness. So it doesn't matter how much you two understand each other, even if that white T person unpacks what is within them, just them being around us, because they've got white T family members, is us being in proximity to harm. in proximity to anti-Blackness, in proximity to danger. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation because I feel very strongly about that. And I think that as Black people, for everybody listening into this conversation, you need to understand the distinction between being pro-Black and anti-Blackness. It's imperative that we understand those two things. They are two separate lanes. Anti-racism is their job, and being pro-Black is our job. So I'll land there for now.
Absolutely. Kuji Chakalia. Appreciate you, sister. Thank y'all for the gifts as well. Definitely Black Swan, one of my co-hosts, always going to get that A+. Thank you for teaching us that. And I'll go to the next guest. Alexa, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Well, I turned 29 today. I am Black, and she is fine.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and answer the questions for us.
Can interracial relationships be problematic? I say yes and no. Can a BMBW marry white and still claim to be pro-Black? Yes and no. And do interracial relationships benefit the Black community? Yes. I would say so.
I'm waiting to hear the reasoning behind this.
Okay. Well, as far as the first question, I say they can be problematic depending on how you want to look at it because like previous people have said, being a Black person in a relationship with somebody who is not I personally feel like, and I don't know TikTok rules, so let me know if I'm saying something wrong, but Black is very dominant as a race. And
okay, don't say that.
Okay. Well,
we don't need to be dominant. We don't need that.
Not necessarily saying it in that way. I'm saying it like our DNAs throughout the world and all
genetic. We have the dominant traits in our genes.
Dominant traits in our genes that other people want to have, or they envy in a sense, or that they wish that they had, or like we have a lot of characteristics, traits, gifts, and abundance.
Why do they want it?
Why do they want it? Because it's different when you're born with it and when you can recreate it. It's a difference when it's something that you have genetically or spiritually or internally as a person, and you can grow into this person that everybody sees. It's kind of like when you're the brightest person in the room, you're always going to have enemies, or when you have
so do you think they're envious?
Yes, I think it's an envy thing. I don't think it's necessarily like the race in itself, because even with interracial, relationships, it's still different races. Like it's not just two different races. So it's like,
so you think they're envious of our melanin?
It could be the melanin. It could be, the body functions. It could be the tone. It could be the way that we carry ourselves, or it could just be, the fact that we heal different, like that we.
What if it's not envy? What if it's obsession?
That too. I mean, it starts envy. I think obsession is a part of envy, though, if you think about it in a way, because that's what you're going to focus on.
It's not exactly the same thing. Because if you say they're envious of our melanin, there are Indian people that are just as melanated, if not more than us, but they don't get the same treatment that we get. So,
Well, as far as, it doesn't necessarily have to be the melanin. And when I say functions, I mean like how we are. Like, that movie, Get Out? Like, kind of like that. But, the movie is played at a surface level, but if you actually look into it a little bit deeper, we went through a lot of little trials and tribulations in our past generations.
But the problem that I'm having with what you're saying is, and that's the thing. You're looking at
you're looking at the reactions to us as a people and how we're fetishized and thinking that that's what fuels the motive for racism. And it's just the reaction to their own insecurities that they may have and how they react to us in their spaces. But that is not the ingredient. That is not the cause behind it. And the reason that's problematic is because it I want to say normalizes, but it like makes part of the conversation how our fetishization and how we're fetishized by them is what gives us power. So it kind of plays into how they view us. There's such thing as race play. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
No.
it's a type of sexual activity where black people are seen as um, the superior. I'm trying to be TikTok friendly and
Okay.
dominant, like you were saying,
Mhm.
and it's their desire to be dominated by us in the bedroom. So it just kind of what you're saying plays too heavily into that fetishization, but not reality. Have you
Well,
read the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing?
mm-mm.
So I would say before you speak on why racism exists or why they feel the way they feel about us, I would read the ISIS papers or Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s Compensatory Counter-Racist Code. It's a textbook on racism. It's literally textbook racism.
Well,
So these get to the core of the issue. It's there is kind of that what you're calling envy, but it's much deeper than that. And
but would you say that it goes into like more of an emotional or uh psychological thing? Like that could still be an issue, of insecurity, a discomfort, and it can be an envy because if it's something that you wish you had or something that you like it could be a love-hate relationship in a way. I think if two people could come together that don't look the same and choose
but
to
the
be like,
problem is that you're saying so we can talk about that, but you're saying it like it's the core of the problem. And I'm like, even if you're not saying that, why are we talking about this and not the core of what's really going on?
well, I mean,
Because it's not us.
it's not
It's not an envy of us that's the problem. It just seems that way. And at the same time, if they envied us, they would treat us a little bit different. But it's not that. They envy us. It seems that way.
why would you say that?
When a woman is envious of another woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like she sees her sister in a dress, and the sister is rocking that dress. Oh my goodness, she's so fine,
Mm-hmm.
elegant, ethereal. And she feels a way about that woman wearing that dress.
Right.
Who has the problem? Is it that she envies the dress and that she wants to be that woman? Or is it that she herself
Mm-hmm.
has an insecurity
Mm-hmm.
that she's projecting onto that woman?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And it's called projecting. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you're looking at it from our perspective as you want to be me, but that's not what's going on inside them.
You don't
What's
think
going on
so?
inside the people that created race and benefit and control racism is not envy,
You don't
it's
think so?
insecurity.
Right. But that could be like a generalized, indirect learn, it's a thing that they learn generationally, like just like us. A lot of us, like, we're not angry people, but we're misunderstood, and we're misunderstood because we already have the impression of being black. Like we already have the impression to be the thugs, the gangsters, the people who steal, the ones who can't learn, the ones who don't understand, the ones who are always going to be belligerent, off the charts, never going to, be worth anything. Like, we already have that. Soon as you come out of the womb, that's a thing that we can't help, but we still grow into great people, like wonderful people. And it's just like, why wouldn't they be like, if because growing up, I always heard if you wanted to hide something from a black person, you should put it in a book. But education is very important for black people, but a lot of black people choose not to take advantage of the fact that they can teach themselves, teach each other, and everything else. When they do decide to teach each other, usually be the anger that they have, the frustrations that they have. They teach from their mistakes, but they
No.
still teach out of the
Mm-mm.
way. You don't think so?
No, because what you're saying is in bad faith. That's when people always lose me. When they talk about black people and they talk about poor behaviors in reference to our people as a race, you're always going to lose me there.
Well,
Like
I'm
we
not
can talk
saying.
we
I'm
can
not
talk about
saying.
bad actors, but bad actors exist in every community. So, we could talk about that. We could talk about how specifically black bad actors act a certain
Mhm.
way. But when we're talking
Right.
about black people and you focus on bad actors, you're going to lose me.
Well, no, I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. I'm just speaking from a realistic point of view. Like, this is still a common thing that we're trying to figure out how to fix. And the only way to fix it is to acknowledge it. A. And then B is still, it's not, I'm not saying it to down the black people, because we all supposed to work together and live together. But if you think about it, out of all the races, we the only ones that are actually divided. We're the ones that fight each other. We're the ones who always,
That's a lie again.
you
Once
don't think
again, you're
so?
doing it again. You're doing it again because you're doing it again. You always going to lose me, and I don't come up here to argue with black people. I
Okay.
already had. You're going to lose me
Well, I'm
because
not
none of the
arguing
facts
though.
back what you're saying. Every race of people has infighting. Don't matter what the Mexicans from here
Hmm.
don't like the Chileans over there.
Hmm.
The Israelis from here don't
Yeah.
like the Palestinians over there.
Right.
The French people from here, the Irish people from here rather, don't like the English people over there. There's always something going on in every community. It's just when it comes to us, all of a sudden it's black on black crime.
No,
So
because everybody does it. It's just like we are. That's why I meant by we're dominant, because we're everywhere. But it's like we still make those decisions to be in those interracial relationships, and we still make those decisions to.
again,
You don't think so?
your perspective is, sister, you hitting on you. I'm trying to. Your perspective is limited, sister. I see what you're saying, but you looking at the outside and you saying this what it is. This what it is. And I'm telling you, when you get inside, you find that that is not truly the case.
So you don't feel like the way that we treat other people and who we choose to accept is not a part of it?
Who we choose to accept. If I put a woman, if I take a woman from her house where she's chilling with her family, peaceful as hell, and I take her and lock her up in my bathroom and chain her to the shower head, and she's locked in the bathroom. I don't feed her. I don't do nothing. I SA her. I do whatever I want to do to her. And
Mm.
then after leaving her in there for a while, I tell her, you know what? I'll allow you to marry me now. I won't improve nothing going on with her. I'll still treat her the same. She's still in the same environment that I put her in. She's still got the same problems going on. But I say, you know what? I woke up this morning and I said, love is love. You can love me now. And then she says, I love you back. Would you say she chose that?
I mean, if that's what she think love is, just like you or that person who did that.
That's
If
called
you,
Stockholm Syndrome. And it's what happens to people when you kidnap them. Stockholm Syndrome is induced after 30 days of being locked. You can lock two people in the same room for 30 days with no
mm,
sunlight and just minimum, water and food, and they will come out in love. That's what happens. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. It's something human beings do because that's how we
create community bonds. Even like when we're in survival mode, we bond with whoever's in our vicinity. So that being the case, what I'm trying to say is, you would say that woman has Stockholm syndrome, and you would say, because I put her in that environment, I induced it. So when it comes to interracial relationships, those who have power are the aggressors. And those who ignore that power because they want to ignore the fact that their people are still going through a modern day slavery, still going through a GENO side, then that person is just a person with Stockholm syndrome brought on by 400 years of oppression from these people. Nowhere in history do you see where black people marched up and down streets because we wanted the right to be able to marry them. You see where they passed the law that without improving our environments, without improving our community, without doing a thing for us, they decided, you know what? It's legal for us to love you now. After 40 years, actually it was like 300 something years at the time. After 300 something years of essaying our mothers and essaying our fathers, Padaseka, look him up.
But she didn't
all
choose.
these years of that, they decided, you know what, we're gonna love y'all now. And some of us went along with it. I understand that.
Right.
But that's because she has been conditioned to look at him as, she's been disarmed. She's been conditioned to look at him as the default. And that is another part of Dr. Francis Cress Welson's thesis.
But what if she looked at him as a last resort? Or what if she looked at him like, maybe there's somebody that she could share more common ground with? Or
if I chained a woman up in my bathroom, I would be her last resort too.
So these two people that happened to
marrying me after I done locked you in my bathroom would be her best move. She would be able to get out the bathroom now. You're my wife.
So it's a story.
It would give her upward mobility out of the conditions I placed her in.
But is that the story behind them choosing to be married?
Yes. If you don't know the context of which I'm speaking right now, then you got a lot more history.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying with this picture back here and them being married, are you saying that the backstory behind it was that he did something to her and brainwashed her into choosing to marry him?
Yes.
Oh, what?
Except it wasn't him as an individual. We're talking about communities of people. We're talking about an anti-black world in which he is seen as the default. If you start zooming into the individuals, then you're going to say, oh no, it wasn't him as a person, which is the same thing that they do, to be honest, when we try to hold them accountable for their role in enslaving our ancestors and oppressing our people today. They say, oh, it wasn't me. My family didn't own slaves. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going down problematic route after problematic route. And I think you're on point, sister. I just think you got more studying to do. And one thing about us black people is we think because we experience racism that we understand it, and we don't. We need to learn about it. We need to actually listen to some scholars that actually know what they're talking about and learn. And then when you listen to them, you will see why you see things the way you do.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with the way that I see things. I kind of see it from a more freer perspective with a little bit more of an open heart to people and everybody else. We were supposed to love everybody unconditionally and love our enemies as well.
Unconditional love doesn't exist in Africa. That's something your colonizer taught you so that you can love him while he continue to oppress you. Black Swan, go ahead, sister.
No, you have to love yourself too.
Wait, hold on, Alexa, hold on. Just listen for a minute. So it was put into law because a YT man wanted to be able to marry a black woman, right? That's when it became legal. We did not choose that, right? That's when it became legal. And I think a lot of times whenever we are given some form of, because I don't even really call it, I don't think it's true progression. It's progression on their terms because it's going to benefit them somehow. That's how things have operated. I guess I could speak specifically to America for Black people, right? The things that we've experienced here. It's because they made the decision to let this happen, right? It's
Okay.
never changed. It's never changed the mindsets of people. It's never changed their mentalities. We are still dealing with redlining. We're still dealing with an unjust criminal justice system. We are still dealing with the infant mortality rate, which is up way too high for Black women. We can't even go into a hospital and give birth to our babies without having to worry about coming out alive or not. Like, this has not changed anything, right? And you had mentioned that we are taught to be peaceful people or whatever the case is. And it is definitely, it's because when you're dealing, like, you have to remember, you just have to understand that when you're dealing with them, peace is never in the picture. It's never in the picture. Life wouldn't be the way that it is for us right now if it was. You get what I'm saying? These types of relationships have not done anything for individuals or for people as a whole. Like, if I
Okay.
was chained, if you think about the scenario that he gave you, you hesitated, and that's scary. I'm not going to lie to you. That was scary to hear that you hesitated. If there is a man that had me chained up in his basement and then decided to just allow me out, I'm running. I'm running. As soon as I get the opportunity, I'm running. I'm not going to come out and say, you know what? I think I could do this. Absolutely not.
But
That's
she
not
did it for
love.
survival, though. She didn't do it for love. He probably
But
loved her, though. He was,
listen
it
to
was
the
But
probably
she
part.
did
important
it
to
for
him.
survival because of whose environment that she was put in. You do
Right.
understand Black people didn't choose to come to this country, right?
Okay.
You think we just said, yeah, y'all, let's leave Africa. Come on.
And
Right.
all the
You
people,
understand that we were taken from our home, put into someone else's basement, and forced to be there. You understand that? Literally in chains.
right, but
So
all the arguments were also, I mean, all of the countries were also together as one once upon a time, too.
what countries?
It was called Pangea once upon a
Oh,
time.
sister, that
No?
was 6 million years ago. That was before
Well,
the first human beings.
so Alexa, I think the problem here, hearing you say that, the problem is that when Brother Legend said you need to go to the scholars, you need to go to the scholars. Do not get your information from conspiracy theories online,
On the
because there is a
internet.
very
Yeah.
anti-Black and very anti-African conspiracy theory out there that people are subscribing to, and it is going to lead you down the wrong path. Alexa, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that humans existed during Pangea?
Somewhere.
No, absolutely not.
No?
I recommend that you educate yourself, and go
Yeah.
to
So what
scholars.
difference, what difference from a law being passed for a white man to want to marry a Black woman for the wrong reasons with the wrong intentions than it is from a gay couple choosing to get married and then they
That's not
having
the
to
same.
make that legal too?
Oh
That's not the
Lord.
same thing. That's not
Alexa,
the same thing.
come back downstairs, baby. Come back downstairs and listen. Just come back downstairs.
So that's not the same thing.
It's not. Come back downstairs.
A law
Come
being
downstairs.
passed to allow people to feel accepted.
Did it stop
Come downstairs.
homophobia? Wait, hold on, T. Did it stop homophobia, Alexa? Did it
No,
stop homophobia? Did it stop their issues? Do
no,
they still have issues
no,
today in society?
no.
That's the point that we're trying to make. Nothing has
Exactly.
changed for people.
Whether
But
you're
you're trying
Black
to
or gay.
justify it, and we're telling you where the wrong is in it. These systems are still built to keep us oppressed. Nothing has changed.
The difference is LGBT marriage laws made it so that they can love each other.
And
And
so did they for Black and white
interracial
people to choose to get
interracial
married together
interracial
too.
marriage laws made it so that we can love other people. So that we would
No matter
stop
what color.
having to love ourselves. You understand? So it's kind of the opposite.
But that's no matter what color though.
That's two
What it,
arguments. Not
all right, Alexa, you losing me, sis. I don't know where you at now. I don't know. You going too far now.
here.
I don't
I'm
know.
saying as far as the
To be
law
honest,
goes, it still
LGBT
doesn't.
part shouldn't even came up. We talking about our people as a race, and that includes LGBT brothers and sisters. We just talking about Black people. We ain't getting into how people identify with who they love and all that other stuff. We ain't getting into all that.
So, Queen, do you think that Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings had a consensual relationship?
No.
Okay.
Probably not at first.
Do you think that it is ever possible to have an enslaver who owns you and engage in an actual consensual relationship at any point when they own you?
Could it be misunderstood like as love eventually? Where it's something that you just grew to be used to or to like in a certain way?
Queen. Thomas Jefferson was
Yes,
46 years
please.
old, and Sally Hemings was 15 years old when he first impregnated her.
Uh,
Do you really
I'm gonna say
consider
that's
that
love.
to be consensual love?
people do that today.
But
But
okay,
is that
so hold on, wait.
consensual?
Alexa,
Yo,
let me ask you a question. Does that make it right? Does
No,
that make it okay?
no.
That's the point that we're getting at. It's not okay. It's not right. And I just want to point this out. Look at who's gifting you right now. I'm you.
Well, I mean, I don't care
yo,
about the gifts. I don't even know what
It's
it
not
nah,
is.
about
nah.
you caring
You.
about it.
Uh,
It's about
Go
who's
ahead, Tia.
affirming what you're saying. Like if you know how like try not to call nobody's name at this moment. You know how there are some people like celebrity people who have married women or men who were much younger than them, like maybe like 17, and they were quite old, like maybe in their 30s. Like you can think of like some instances of that, right?
Uh,
So there's a power dynamic that's typically why it's problematic. Like it's being able to leverage that power dynamic to control the younger person.
okay.
Agreed? Agreed?
Yeah.
Oh, she
So
got paused already. I'm wilding.
yeah, she got five like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, my bad. All right, let's move on. Appreciate y'all for the pause. I ain't even peep, man. Shout out to everybody that sent them pause, man. My bad, yo. I didn't even mean to disrespect the space like that. Dang, I wild out. If y'all notice me, shout out to my mods, Molly and Francesca, and I don't know where Leisha if she's in here today. But if y'all see me keep going on like that, my bad, because it was starting to trigger me. Like it starts to, you know what I'm saying, get wild. Like, you know, cultural betrayal trauma is psychologists, actually say that's real trauma. So that's the thing. Um, yeah. All right. Well, we'll go to the next guest. Tia, if you want to land that plane, though, you feel free.
Oh,
Uh,
I was just getting at like it's the same kind of like power dynamic. Like if you wouldn't champion those relationships where it's somebody or someone much older who's marrying someone that who's barely legal because
mm,
guys that power dynamic allows them to take advantage of that person and what they don't know, then you should be able to understand the dynamic that y'all
mhm,
tried and tried and tried and tried to explain. It's the same dynamic. Like you have somebody in kind of like in a crucible, so to speak, where they're trying to survive, and you either
mhm,
giving them an inch and kind of manipulating them into a situation that benefits you mostly and them none at all. You still taking advantage of somebody. You're leveraging the same power dynamic for different reasons,
mhm.
but it's still the same power dynamic. It's a lopsided dynamic. You are taking
Yeah.
advantage of somebody. You are manipulating them to do things that don't benefit them and that benefit you. So the analogies were analogying, and she just was not getting it. I was trying to encourage her to come back downstairs because she not dumb. She can get it. She just need to read the books, like you were saying. Like read
Mhm.
the book. Come back downstairs. Come
Yeah.
Can I
downstairs.
add to that? I feel like when we talk about power dynamics, right, and somebody has power over, or we can even compare it to society, right? YT supremacy has power over, Black people. Like in any dynamic like that, in order for the person that is under the power of the other, they've got to separate. They have to separate. In order for that person to be, or for the person that's under within the relationship facility, we'll take it back to a relationship. That person who's not in control has got to be able to separate in order to heal. They got to be able to separate in order to be safe. They have to get away from that person that has power and control over them. It doesn't happen when they're together. It
Yeah.
does not happen when they are together. And people get into relationships actually thinking like this. It doesn't happen when they are together. And when you have an interracial relationship in an anti-Black society, right? Like that just reinforces
Mhm.
that power over dynamic. When you have an interracial relationship, the Black is always going to have to yield to the YT. And
Mm.
it never mixes well. It just doesn't. You've got to get yourself away from it. You got to separate it in order for you to be
Hmm.
able to just be you.
You know the craziest part about that is I I think her name is T. The young lady that spoke a couple people before her and shared the story about or Day, I'm sorry, Day, um, who is married to the YT man. You just end up being gaslit the entire time. Like imagine being married to somebody and you're having to send that person articles about why it is problematic to call you aggressive, like use microaggressions towards you as a black person. Like
Hmm.
that is such an abusive relationship. Like what are we talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the next guest. Um, conservative. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
39, white Italian, Jimmy.
I'm sorry. You said
My name is
what?
Jimmy.
Okay, I didn't ask for your name. Your
Oh,
age,
39,
race,
white Italian.
and pronouns.
I'm a guy, so he.
All right, talk to us.
I just don't understand what the big deal is. I always looked at it this way, even being a Christian. As long as you marry somebody, you both love each other. When you go home at night after work, close the door. It's between you and your spouse. Doesn't matter who they are, as long as it's consensual and they're both in a loving relationship.
Okay. Did you like have milk before you said any of that,
Did,
or like
did I
I don't
have
know? Do you have
milk?
like an allergy or something? You sound like
Well, I'm
your
nasal right now
voice is
because
like kind of. Oh, okay. All
I'm
right. Well,
it's bedtime, so I got bad allergies at night.
mhm. All right. How do you feel about
So,
sunlight?
what was you saying? Huh?
How do you feel about sunlight?
How do I feel about sunlight?
Yeah.
I like the day more than the night.
Okay. Why is that? Do you get moonburns?
No, just because you could see better. There's more things to do outside, and it's typically warmer out when the sun's out.
Hmm.
Sun's out, guns out.
Oh, well, we believe you when you say that. Y'all do be having your, I mean, hopefully not in school, but
No, you know the saying at
we
the
know.
beach, your arms. But yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, who really, who really cares who's marrying who as long as they're happy?
Well, I mean, of course, you wouldn't care because you're the beneficiary of the construct of racism. So why would you care? You literally gain everything from all of this.
I
So,
think he does care. I think he does care. If he didn't care, he wouldn't have come up on this platform to say he didn't care, right? He's been up here waiting for quite a while to tell us he didn't
What I'm
care.
saying, guys,
So,
is maybe because of my life going through things, the most important thing that I can want everybody to have, black, white, male, female, whatever race you are, is that when you're done with your day, whatever it is, work, wherever you live, you can come home, enter in your home, be with somebody you love. Hopefully, if you guys want, have a couple of nice kids, plan a life out. Hopefully, get to a time when you can retire and do whatever that is that you want to have fun with before they put us in the pine box of old age.
where are
I
these
mean,
homes at?
well, your home could be whatever. It could be a house
It
or
could be on
whatever.
it could be on Native Americans' land. It could be on African land. It can be on South Americans' land. So is that the home? You mean home is where the colonizer heart is?
You can call me whatever you want if that makes you feel better, but home is
I
where
didn't
you
call
hang
you.
out.
I didn't call you that. I was just saying, are these the kind of homes that you're talking about?
Home is where you hang your hat. It's much
Home
more than
is
just
home is
it's much
where
more than just wood and a door and a window. I
Well,
mean,
I don't live in a
once you
wooden
look,
house. My house made of brick, but I hear you.
yeah, once you look past the
I
brick
would.
and mortar or the wood and the stucco, a
Home
house
is
is
where
where
you
your
hang
family
your
is.
is home where you hang your red baseball cap.
Oh, my MAGA hat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a MAGA hat. I also have
A
Capitals
hood, a
hat.
white
I
hood.
have a
You
lot
have
of
like a
baseball
white
hats.
hood like this, like
No, that's
like
the
a old
DNC.
Spanish pope.
That's a DNC did that shit. Not conservatives.
Can I ask
I'm
a
sorry.
question?
Yeah.
That's for another day.
Mr. Italian.
Where were you on January 6th?
What does that matter? Doesn't matter at all.
That tells me all I need to know.
That's cool, but that does negate. See, that's fine. I'm fine if you guys want to attack who I am because Italian. I'm an Italian dude, but that does not negate anything I said.
Italian ain't got nothing to do with it.
It doesn't negate anything I said. I think people use these as a reason to justify their own shortcomings as men to why black women are going to white men or white
So,
women are
sir,
going to
I'm going to
black
stop
men.
you right there. Hold on,
Absolutely.
Hold on, sir. Mute up, please, for a minute. So we have a conservative Christian white teen man coming to a black space trying to educate us. Can you just like I'm sorry.
I know he didn't just try to pull that card.
Wait, I
They do
got
not
another
come to you.
It's
They
the
do
truth.
not come to you because they want y'all. They come to you because y'all have disenfranchised them so much. And a lot of the times they will gladly tell you they don't like you. They like pasta and lobster. And they just know you can buy it.
Yeah,
it's funny
because we
that you say
can.
that.
On
Are you in
behalf
a
of the
I think
relationship with a black
I
woman?
think it's funny how you jumped on Alexa earlier because she had a different view from you because it doesn't
Mind your
fit into
business.
your
Conservative. That
narrative.
had nothing to do with you. Nope,
Nobody,
stop.
nobody jumped on
That had nothing
Alexa
to do with
Oh
though.
you.
yes, you did. You were trying to tell her she's
No.
Nobody
wrong. She
jumped
has
on
a
her.
No.
CD.
While y'all all up in here and letting him jump in his black business and he ain't jumped his funky ass in the tub. But I'm
Oh,
gonna
I'm fine. I'm just listening before I go to
But
bed.
Mr. Conservative, we're addressing you. The conversation with Alexa was a conversation between black people. That was not a conversation
So
that you were involved in. That
I
was an
don't, I
in-house
don't, I
conversation.
don't, I don't
I
look
know
at
you
black
want to,
and
and
white
you
as
want
this.
to insert your voice into that conversation. You want to insert your voice into this conversation. Coming in here talking about black women.
What's wrong with black women? I like black women.
We know you do. We know you do.
What do you like about black women?
Usually, typically, except for the ones in here, they're really confident people and happy usually.
What did he say? The ones in here?
Yeah, the ones in here are
The
just.
problem is conservative is that what we
Probably
know
because
Sounds
we
like you're all
smell your
miserable.
funky ass.
we know
Wait,
that
hold
there's
on,
a
hold on. Don't get
fetishization of
upset,
the
y'all. Hold on. Go ahead, Timothy.
So conservative, the problem is that, the statement that you just said before is incredibly inaccurate because of the black women that do get married. Statistically speaking, 92% get married to black men. So clearly you are not the top priority for black women.
Okay.
Second, also
Then why are you guys complaining
when
about it?
we're looking at the demographics of women who are the victims of human trafficking and they are forcibly engaged in sexual acts, the highest demographic to solicit sex from black women and from young black girls are actually middle-aged white men married with children. So clearly you're the demographic that desires black women the most and fetishizes black women the most, while at the same time black women choose you the least. So everything that you just stated is 100% your desire and your fetishization of black women, when in actuality black women want nothing to do with you for the most part.
Okay,
And
two
any
things.
black woman
I'm
that
married to a white woman,
agree
and
with
second
you,
off, if it wasn't a big
any
deal,
black woman that does want
is it
something to do
bothering
with
you?
you very much so has
Obviously, it is
succumbed,
a big deal because
unfortunately,
it's
to the
bothering you.
Stockholm syndrome. And what you're attempting to do is you're attempting to bleed and misguide people into this random fetishization thing that you think is actually the norm because you've probably been watching too much Cornhub and kind of listening to those types of demographics as well. So I would suggest
That's against
maybe
my
step away from
faith
that.
to watch that. But if it wasn't a big deal, then why are you guys concerned about black women marrying white guys if it's
I don't think it's any of
happening
your
so
concern
rarely?
what we're concerned about.
It's not really your business, Mr. Conservative.
Kind of none of your business.
As you said, like when we were speaking to Alexa, as much as Alexa was wrong, that's a conversation between black people.
Doesn't
Mr.
matter. She's a
Conservative.
person.
With all due
So you
respect,
want to treat people like black people and white people when you
well,
can't
if
just
we
have a
don't,
simple dialogue between people.
I don't want to treat people like black people and white people. The world
Well,
treats
that's what
people
you
like black
just said.
people. No, the
You had
world
to
treats
say
people.
black person. You had to
Hey,
emphasize the color of her skin
All right,
instead of the
Mr.
content of what you
y'all
Conservative, the
said.
let
world
someone else
treats
speak.
Mr. Conservative, the world treats people like black and white people, and we have to all navigate that.
Only if
But
you let them think of it like that.
Mr.
You feed
Conservative,
into it.
let me cook with you for a bit, because I think fundamentally what this conversation has been about is that
And
black
I'm
people
not
are
going to
just.
stay away from your women. If they like me more, tough shit, guys
Do you,
are.
Mr. Conservative, all we've been saying is that there's such a thing as power dynamics, and
Sure.
history dictates power dynamics, and that power dynamics
Okay.
can make things weird and inappropriate. Are you with me?
You live in the past. I live in the
I'm not
present to
living
the
in the past.
future.
We're living. The past dictates the future and the present,
No, it
because
doesn't.
we didn't just fall from the sky, Mr. Conservative. The past is
The past
yesterday,
does not dictate the future. If that was
yesterday
the
affects
case,
today.
the Jewish people
I
would be decimated. They're the most successful people in the
Nope,
world.
you gotta go. Stop. You can't
what?
talk
These are the
like
All
most
that.
right, yeah,
successful
he
people in
gotta
the
go
world.
now.
Yeah, he gotta
Oh
go, man.
man, you didn't have to go there, man.
It's true, though. They're
Um,
successful. You don't like them being
man,
successful?
hold on, because the only reason it takes longer is because they don't have like a button where you can just like block somebody. Like you gotta go through all this menu crap. But anyway, it's fun while it lasted. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing says we are to invite them in. That's what she says. Invite them in so we can learn. That's the reason we bring them up here. We don't have to bring them up here to critique them. We're not bringing them up here to try to change their mind. We bring them up here so brothers and sisters that are watching can learn, so we can know how to maneuver on our side of the court. That's it. That's the only reason they up here. I would, just remind all the brothers and sisters out here that we don't want to create a space where we're up here to, make them feel bad or anything. But I have a hard time taking them serious. So you'll probably hear me make jokes more than anything. But yeah, that's why I just ask them questions so that y'all can see how ugly it gets with them, because y'all probably won't see. He don't talk like that in person. I guarantee you.
Can I just say
Appreciate you,
that
Gene.
hearing Timothy give those statistics, and I grew up in a predominantly YT area, meaning I've had teachers that were YT men. I've had coaches that were YT men. I was
Shout out to
involved
Gene.
in a lot growing up, and I've had doctors that were YT men, and I the fact that he said he was married, he said he likes black women. Timothy gave the statistics, right? And then he said, I'm not going to stay away from black women. That made my stomach drop. That I will like my reaction to, we're on TikTok, right? But hearing that man say that made my stomach drop, because I've grown up around them and I've seen how they operate. And when it's a YT man and just being a young black girl and being alone,
Mm-hmm.
it could be in a classroom, it could be in a hallway, it could be in I was on the swim team. It's scary. It is not a comfortable feeling. I have never ever felt safe anytime I've ever been alone around a YT coach or a YT teacher, an older YT man. I'm telling you right now, even just eye contact was something that I tried to avoid. I try to keep things as short as possible because my body just never felt safe physically. I just didn't. And hearing him say that and respond like that after Timothy gave those statistics was terrifying.
Yeah.
Queens, I need y'all to be 100% aware of individuals like that, and actually, I would recommend making sure that that individual ends up on some kind of a watch list, because I guarantee you that he very much so is one of the demographics that I was just stating that solicits sex from young girls below the age of 18 as a middle-aged YT male married, probably with kids. So he literally basically just admitted it, and he's proud of it. These are the type of individuals that are the ones that try to promote love is love. Oh, well, just, hey, it's perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with them actually desiring to love you. It has the vast majority of the time them wanting to be able to engage in their fetishization of you. Don't let them do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If it is
I
is
definitely
a desire.
believe that that
Oh,
man was at the Capitol on January 6th. And on behalf of Black women everywhere, I just would like to say that Black women like men with teeth in their mouth, preferably all 32.
Also, but I think it's a good reminder that sexual desire doesn't mean like someone respects you as a human being. Because like when we were talking about about like how history dictates the present, he's just like, oh, why are you living in the past? And then he's just like, the small hat people are really successful, and it's so disrespectful to black people when you bring up the small hat people, who that who were given a nation on top of other people that were living there, who were given a nation and who have been funneled tens of billions in reparations, and who have been given tens of billions on top of that in munitions to keep them safe. Like and like black people, when you turn around, we've not even got an apology. We've not even gotten like they've not even in fact they've not even not only have they not stopped like oppressing black people, but like they've not even given an apology. Not only have they not given an apology, like they've not paid reparations for us. They've not given us the tens of billions that the small hat people have had. We've not got our own nation. They are, in fact, not only that, they're banning the academic frameworks so that their children can do better than them. So like comparing us to the small hat people is such a disrespect, and it's a complete
yeah.
warping of history. Like, oh yeah, those people have managed to get on. Like, no, those people have been funneled effectively hundreds of billions, like over like the last 70 years. We're in completely different circumstances. Completely different circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say this real quick? I'm sorry, because I know you have another guest, but the way that this breaks my heart, and Scoops pointed this out in the comment section, this is kind of taking it back a little bit. The way that Alexa spoke, she has definitely been traumatized. We could tell. If you're going to hesitate when we're asking you, if you think that you could love somebody that has chained you up and locked you up, and that hesitation was
Yeah.
scary to me, then this
Yeah.
YT man on the panel was gifting her. Think about the type of black women that he's going to go after. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the minute he even brought her up, he was like,
Money.
well, he said, well, Alexa. I said, immediately my instincts were like, stop, mind your business. You get what I'm saying?
Dang.
Thinking
See
he's
how
That's
he
gifting her,
liked that about
He's
Alexa.
This is
and
why
then
we
he
manipulating with
bring
brought
them
her
up
money.
up.
here.
That's
Manipulating
so
with money.
scary.
You see
I can
how
buy
like
you this. I
the
can
light.
take you to dinner. I can pay your student loans. I can pay your
Yeah.
bills. You know how many YT men I've had in my DMs like, oh, I can take care of that bill with you. What are you struggling with?
You,
Can I
That's how
be
you
honest
get
with
got.
y'all? Can I
notice
can
how
I
he was
keep it
like
real? Can I
the
keep it?
ladies on the panel. He doesn't have any time for. But Alexa, who thinks that Pangea had black people in it, or like, oh, you see, that's the light bulb. Like, that's appealing to him because he thinks this girl doesn't know anything. That's exactly the kind of black woman I want because that's a lopsided power dynamic.
But listen, what Tia just said. I don't know about some of y'all brothers down there, but I've had some of the frosted females approach me the same way. I ain't gonna cap. I don't know if it's because I'm always talking love on sisters and unifying our people, but I have received some interesting interesting DMs since I've started this page. I'm dead serious. And I block them every time. You already know. You know, I'm a married man. You know, we ain't doing that. But the audacity, because I speak on my wife constantly on this platform. And yeah, I've gotten some what's your cash app? Like I've gotten that a few times. And then you go in their bio and say sugar mama or some weird. I know that's because they probably done had some brother in the past, you know, validate that experience for them. So, but either way,
No, that's
wow.
actually legit. That's actually a real thing. Like they do
Yeah.
very much so target black men for that as well. Like it's literally
Right.
fetishization, and it has doesn't matter whether you are a YT male or a YT female. They both do that. Like they both
Mm-hmm.
target us specifically for that purpose. Even during slavery,
Mm-hmm.
they still targeted us for that purpose.
And
And
they be looking, like it be them, you know what I'm saying?
yep,
Siwa, what's her name? JoJo Siwa looking ass, you know what I'm saying?
yep, exactly.
I'm sorry. JoJo Siwa is like the most, to me, that's a nightmare, you know what I'm saying? Like, Like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody said something about her. I forgot what it was, but it was like, she ugly and I can see why, or something like that. Like her name, yeah. I don't know. I don't like that girl. Anyway, let's go to the next guest. We got a guest up here. All of y'all got a chance to speak. I'm gonna come back. But let Evolve give us the age, race, and pronouns, please.
Greetings. I'm really glad to be able to be in this group. I'm 39, female. I guess, you would say I'm white. And
Light or white?
pardon me?
Did you say light?
No, you would say I'm a white,
Oh, okay.
Eastern
All right.
European.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to say, wow, my heart wanted to jump out of my chest for all of you when that man was just in here. Like, whoa. And
All right.
yeah, I just wanted to address the questions,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, bring us back to the questions, please.
Yeah. So can interracial relationships be problematic? Yes, they can. I'm in an interracial marriage, and before I got into the marriage, you're so blinded by the way society conditioned us mentally to see each other and be kind of naive, right? So, it is problematic it can be for the individuals, especially culturally where they come from, and also, to the communities, because there's never a full acceptance from either way. And, it becomes...
Why is that?
Why is that? I don't know if I can answer that. It's the pain, it's the hurt in the psyche, it's the accumulation of all the oppression and all the hurt that has
Okay, so
been
you're
caused.
talking about from the Black perspective.
Well, what?
Because I know you're not sitting up here talking about Black people have caused all this pain and hurt to
No,
white people.
no. I'm saying as white people, we have caused that pain and hurt, right? And I think as white people, you have to acknowledge and take accountability for that and
But
acknowledge it's there. Because when you talk
hold
to
on,
many white people,
evolve. Hold on,
yeah,
pause. So you said that there's this pain, this hurt, this animosity. What's coming from the YT side?
they've caused that.
No. What do they do? So you have this broad understanding.
They hurt people.
Like,
That's
so,
what they
so what
do.
have they done? Like,
What have they done?
You're
She's
giving
talking
one,
about what are you experiencing for the relationship, like
right?
you said
Like,
here.
exactly.
Not the historical perspective. What did y'all experience from both sides? You said both sides.
Because she's giving off, like Brothers Legend said, it's like the pain, the hurt, and that's like comparing the Black people, but you're not speaking to what YT people are doing, and that's just interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic because you're talking about accountability, but you're not talking about the actual actions or the words that YT people do.
Because if you're saying YT people cause it and you're saying Black people feel it, then it's one-sided. So why did you say the families? And you said both, like, you made it seem like both sides won't fully accept you one way or the other. So it's like, sounds one way to me, but where's the both ways?
Maybe your experience is different. You tell us.
Yeah, that's insightful. It is a different experience, I think, too, because my husband isn't, he's from another country. And
a country that your people colonized? Is
right,
there any history
right.
of European colonization
Yes.
in the country your husband is from?
Yes.
Okay, so that you know what that means, right?
You
know what that makes you, right?
If you could elaborate, yeah.
Starts with a C, ends with an R. I'm not talking about a saltine. I mean a colonizer.
Right.
There's a few words that came to mind, right?
Mine too. It's all
Yo,
good. It's all good. I can't take any of this personally.
you know what I'm saying? A clear crusader.
Yeah, I can't take it personally.
Evolve.
As a collective, as a conscious collective, going back to the questions, I don't want to make it a personal thing either.
But
I'm
Evolve,
more
you
focused
said
on a collective healing.
you said that your partner, his family is from another black country. Did you
Yeah.
not feel accepted by that side of the family? Because initially what you said is that it was like it came from both sides. Is that your personal experience?
Yes.
So can you? I'm interested in that. Could you elaborate a bit more about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I could elaborate on that. Yeah, I've never had, there's always this connotation of because I'm white, I can offer certain things.
Evolve. Could you help me out? Could you tell me which country? Because that would give a lot of insight into what you're saying.
My husband's from Jamaica.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah, I guess just the ideology of like when people see a white person, they think like, oh, you somehow have something that you can give them, or in Jamaica it's very strange because it's almost a classism of color too. Like the darker you are, you're treated very differently as
I think
well.
there's a word for that. Classism of colorism.
Colorism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just experiencing that is really awakening. And I see that it is
And why
problematic,
does that
but
happen? Who created that concept?
which concept? The colorism?
Yeah, colorism. Who's to blame for that being in Jamaica?
That would be due to it being colonized.
Mm-hmm. I see.
How
Well, does
did
anybody else? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tia.
how did you and your husband meet?
We had met while working together on a on a construction site, building a restaurant.
In the United States?
Yeah,
Did you meet his family prior to you guys getting married?
I did. Yes, I actually went there, met them prior.
Did you feel accepted?
Thank you, Africa.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Initially, you feel accepted, and then, maybe you unravel all these things. Like I said, the veil was lifted for me, right?
Well, I guess
So when you,
colorism wouldn't necessarily affect you. So your experience, did you feel accepted by his extended family or by the community?
partially, yeah.
Oh,
What do
partially.
you mean? What do you mean by
What do you mean by
partially?
partially? Yeah.
What do I mean? I mean, there's so many individuals within a family, so not everybody's accepting of an interracial relationship.
Do you see
Okay.
yourself as somebody who values family? Like, is family important to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what made you want to continue with the marriage if you felt like you weren't being accepted?
Well, that's what I'm saying is the veil, right? At first, like, because you're maybe naive to certain things and you don't really see things as they are, right? And then you have an
Was that your
experience
first?
that wakens you up and makes you see, like, yes, this could be problematic, right? But
And
Okay,
now,
it's
real
your.
quick,
yep.
let me talk. So, why do you think they feel like, unaccepting you? Like, why do you think they're unaccepting you? Why do you think they're not accepting you? What is it about you that makes them not want to fully embrace you in their family?
Um,
I couldn't really answer that. I don't know why. That's, their why. I would just be making assumptions.
You think it may be like just ingrained racism in his family? Sometimes racism can go both ways.
I don't really agree with that. I mean, I don't know how black people could be racist against white people. That to me doesn't make sense.
So if it wasn't
Okay.
racism, what do you think? Why would they have not accepted you? I'm sure this happened to you, so I'm
I
sure
mean, it could be
you had.
a prejudice, right? I don't know.
Oh,
I wouldn't say it's
okay.
racist.
Okay, so maybe they were a bit
It could
prejudiced
be
to you because of.
people do stereotype people based on race, right?
Ah.
So, people are individuals too. We can talk as a whole collectively,
Is this your
right?
first interracial relationship?
Yes.
Evolve, do you think maybe like the historic experience of Black Caribbeans or Black Jamaicans
Yeah.
may make her feel a bit of a way towards someone like you? You're like,
Most definitely, right? But what
and
I'm
maybe,
saying,
and as you said, it was your first interracial relationship,
yeah.
and obviously it's a completely different country. Maybe
Yeah.
your lack of insight into their cultural dynamics may have not may have not endeared them to you.
Gotta pull it back in. Because what y'all are doing, like, I mean, it's almost giving people excuses. One of the things that was overlooked and skipped was the exact reason why I asked, well, what about the YT side? And brother tried to bring it back and it was completely negated and ignored. One of the best things that YT women are good at are being victims. And in this situation, in this case, ma'am, you very much played a huge role in the person that you partnered yourself with. So you can act like you don't know the history or the genocide that your people have infringed over there and across the diaspora when it comes to black people. And we can sit here and be like, oh, I don't know. Well, ma'am, wake it up. Stop playing. You know that you attach yourself to a black person and you know that you benefit literally from any structures that y'all have colonized. So in this conversation, you want to find a way to be the victim with this family that this man that you chose to pair yourself with. As if your family not racist. That's the funniest part about it. As if your family doesn't have more power in his country and over here than he does.
And
As
can
if the
I just
power dynamic in y'all relationship don't show that you the one that's in charge. But I want to let Brother Legend to speak because he seemed like he got something to say.
But wait, can I just point one thing important out real quick? Evolve, your bio says Indigenous Liberation and it has the Jamaican flag in it. And you're sitting up here in this conversation that we are having with you doing exactly what Dee said. Indigenous Liberation. So this is exactly why I said before about the whole understanding the difference between anti-racism and what that entails and what that looks like, right? And how we don't truly have allies. You're sitting in a Pan-African live. You're telling us that your husband is Jamaican. You're tiptoeing around the reality of the situation, the reality that we have to deal with all the time. And your bio says Indigenous Liberation.
Who does the indigenous liberation refer to? Who is that?
It refers to Native American groups that I work with.
So you're asking for indigenous liberation and you're married, child.
But you're married to a black man?
Understand? They think they're doing you a favor. They think they're elevating your family or your community when they choose y'all. That's what y'all. The benefit of being YT in this world is that they get the option to choose anybody because they've hurt everybody. And anybody that's willing to take them is a better option than it is for them for each other. I'm gonna shut up. But go ahead, brother.
hmm Again, on my platform, you're not really going to see me educating them. But I do think, he said what need to be said to us. But I'm just doing like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said and sitting here and learning. I don't think we're going to change any hearts or minds on this app. Did you get to the last two questions? Do you feel like you're pro-black, Evolve?
Yeah, something you had mentioned earlier was you said something that was interesting about pro-black and I forget the other concept you referred to, but as far as pro-black, I can be supportive of black people, but I don't know how I as a white person could be pro-black.
So do you feel your significant other, I think you said you're married, so is your husband pro-black?
Well, that's a controversial topic considering, some of the scholars you mentioned, their philosophies and things.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I
Okay. And do interracial relationships, do you feel like your relationship has been a benefit to his people?
that one I believe if the particular relationship or like when you say relationship, right? You're just talking about a marriage relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
So except I'm talking about not just marriage, but since Loving versus Virginia, where interracial relationships were legally recognized, has it benefited black people? Was that something done to benefit black people or to unleash the fetishization and fantasies of white America onto black people? Like, was it something done to uplift us and bring us something of value to our community, or has it really worked against our liberation?
Well, that I can say I don't know too much of the history about that exactly, and I wouldn't I could only say from like a personal perspective, right?
Speak on it from a personal perspective.
Personal perspective, I think if the two people are conscious in the relationship, it can benefit the community in some way.
Are you and your
If they are activists within the community. That's the other thing is.
would you consider you and your husband a benefit to his community?
Yes.
In what way?
So he has we frequently go there, so we do a lot of projects with the kids, and he's big on like educating about certain like topics on education that they wouldn't normally get. He likes to bring that there and offer that to them.
What kind of education?
Financial literacy,
capitalism. A system in which white men are in control. So he's helping colonize them.
Is being financially literate though colonizing people? Because
it is, but it at the same time can be used as a survival technique. But if he's married to you, I don't think he's teaching it to them in the form of powernomics from Dr. Amos Wilson. I don't think he's trying to teach them to bring wealth back to the community, because he's not doing that with you.
So where do you come into this? Because you said your relationship benefits it. Is if it's him teaching the financial literacy to his own people, where do you come into the equation?
Where did I come in the equation? I mean, I do a lot of these projects with him, and I mean, I could share some more personal things, but I'm just.
If I were to lock a woman into my bathroom, right? I used this metaphor earlier. I'll take a woman from her peaceful home, she's good and she's thriving, and I lock her up in my bathroom. I chain her, handcuff her to the shower head where she can't move, she can't do anything. But I bring her food and teach her financial literacy. Am I doing something to benefit her?
If that's all
I
you,
don't.
if that's all.
I don't do anything to actually like improve her environment, right? Because if I wanted to do that,
What do
you
you,
know,
what do you mean by that though?
what I mean is, if you seriously cared about
Yeah.
your husband's people, right?
Yeah.
Or if your husband cared about his people, he wouldn't be trying to do what he's doing with you,
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't want you helping him do it. He would want you to go and tell your people to stop doing it to Jamaican people.
Okay.
So what's the point of you going down to Jamaica
Mm-hmm.
to teach Jamaican children how to be better colonizers than like what, like how does that help his people more than you going to your people and staying in your community
Mm-hmm.
and telling your people to stop being colonizers?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just, you know, I just came to this space too because a lot of these things I don't know,
We learned a
and
lot from you. We
and
learned a lot about what you know. We've learned a lot from what you know. And it's, you know, very typical what you don't know. So even though you know certain things that are very telling, insightful things. It's what this live is about, to have the conversation so that brothers and sisters can see what we're dealing with here. And you've shown us that accurately. Um, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
just whatever you have learned from it to build your nation, you know,
Can I
power
ask?
to the people because
Evolve, if
Go
you
ahead, Black Swan.
I
Evolve,
just,
could oh
oh,
sorry.
Oh, my
no,
bad.
Oh
that's
sorry,
okay.
sister, do you wanna go first?
Doctor.
I'll be quick. So I think that I just want to point out in the conversation when we talk about anti-racism, because that's obviously a term that should have been brought up if you know the proper education, um well, if Evolve was seeking the proper education and understanding what their role is, right? I think that for me, it's very alarming to see, and other people need to take heed to the fact that in your bio, it says Indigenous liberation. It says that you are teaching Jamaican children things. There is construction in there, you know, and you kind of romanticize Jamaica, and it just speaks to how things have been with colonizers. I mean, to say that you are for indigenous liberation and to not discuss anything that's going on with the indigenous people there, to not discuss the history, and to not understand, and to not even say the words anti-racist is very performative. And I think what Brother Legend is trying to point out when he says, you know, teaching capitalism, and you know, for somebody that looks like you to go over there and to do those things, it's just everybody just needs to be aware of that.
It's missionary work.
Yeah, and
That's all it is. It's missionary work.
and missionary work is literally just like colonizing on a smaller level. A lot of times when you go into an area, right, especially if it's like religion back, if it's backed by religion, it's like you're going there, right? You're teaching them this religion and kind of, you know, taking advantage of vulnerable people or what you perceive to be vulnerable people, and you know, getting them to take on your ideologies and your mentality for to be able to survive, to be able to eat, to be able to learn. It's harmful. It is quite literally harmful. And it is colonization. Like it's I just think that's really wild, and it's unfortunate. Like you're in a Pan-African space with so many Black people across the diaspora, right? And you have indigenous liberation in your bio. That is harmful.
What you do, you are
thank you for that.
Ev-
I
Ev-
really appreciate it
Evolve,
teaching them
because
to
I can't see
navigate.
certain things that you can see, and I just really appreciate it
Can I
because
just
then
ask
I
one
can
last
make the
question?
changes necessary.
Evolve. Hold on. That
Yeah.
was for the sake of the conversation. That was for the room.
Right.
Just
And I'm acknowledging you.
Evolve. Can I ask one question? How often your partner or yourself go out to Jamaica?
Pardon me?
How often do you and your partner go out to Jamaica?
We can barely hear you, Africa.
Oh, how often do you and your partner go out to Jamaica?
At least once a year.
Once a year, okay. But the rest of the year, he's with you in America, spending his time and money and energy on you.
No. He's traveling in Africa now.
Oh, he's traveling in Africa, okay. And
Oh Lord.
interesting.
See,
Interesting.
is that what's happening is that he is teaching individuals skills on how to navigate the system, as are you, rather than dismantling the systems and the constructs that your ancestors built to oppress them. So it's like, hey, we're not interested in changing any of the dynamics. We're just interested in giving you more knowledge on how to navigate the dynamics that we have forced onto you, which in and of itself is not helping. And also, let's not forget that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing very much so also did state in an interview that she had, I believe, what she quoted essentially, or at least what she determined in her studies, is that there are also YT women that will engage in acts of quote unquote liberation movements with the Black community and with a subconscious desire to be as close to the melanin or producing melanin as they can be. And they kind of approach it from a sense of like, I'm attempting to do the work to try to help, but in method for them to infiltrate in a way for them to be able to then get as close to melanin as they can so they can try to produce it themselves. Like that is also a psychological thing that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, they very much so did identify. But there's that other part of it, obviously, where it's either one of the two. It's the not actually working to dismantle the systems or trying to be close to melanin.
May I ask, so in dismantling the system that you're speaking of, right? Is there somewhere where I could be educated more about this? So
I would say, to be honest, if
yeah,
you want to live up to your bio, where do you currently reside?
in the US.
So get the hell off indigenous people's land. That's the first thing you do to be pro indigenous liberation. That's the first thing I would do. Like if you really about what you preach, get
Yeah.
the hell up off their land. Second of all, I would say, check out, your people, actually go to Europe and maybe build community there, learn some things over there. Check out some of your people. You got Jane Elliott, Tim Wise.
your mic went out, Brother Legend. Your mic went out.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, it's still out.
No, we can.
Darn it, y'all can't hear me.
We can hear
Can
you.
you now?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's an echo there.
All right. So yeah, Tim Wise. He's one of them people that kind of break it down in a language y'all can hear it. But other than that, it's not up to us to kind of help you figure it out. Y'all didn't need help to figure out how to save the whales. You don't need help how to fix, plant more trees. Y'all can figure out how to not be harmful to everything else that don't speak English, but for some reason, other human beings is really so difficult. We don't know what to do. So
Can I as somebody who's also Jamaican, I just think it's interesting the bio that you have, talking about indigenous people and attaching the Jamaican flag to that, because the person that you're married to is not indigenous, they are Black. So when you spoke about if the two people are conscious, I don't know if you were trying to imply that you are conscious, but if you were, wouldn't it make sense for you to be doing labor to help liberate your partner's population. Like, I just find it odd that you prioritize a completely different population of people's liberation over your own partners. That's weird.
And I also think maybe
Black people, as if Black people in Jamaica don't need liberation. That's weird.
I also think the time that you spend maybe like teaching, going to Jamaica to teach small scale construction or teach a couple kids like how to do like American style capitalism. I think your time would be so much more better spent speaking and advocating towards white people. And you're like, I think that would be because I think like what Jamaican does, like with all due respect, Jamaica doesn't need small scale construction. People know how to do small scale construction in Jamaica. What Jamaicans do need is for like whitey people to stop like is the power dynamics between especially white America and Jamaica. And I think your time would be a lot better spent advocating with your local community, advocating with your local representatives in politics, like and speaking to other white people. I don't know how going over to have an adventure once a year in Jamaica to go teach a couple kids some financial classes when they're not changing their actual material condition, like teaching kids like how to buy houses and how to invest in stock, blah blah blah, when when they're poor as hell, is not very helpful. I think you'd be much better like speaking and making changes in your own community and speaking to people who are actually going to listen to you, like because you're going to be able to communicate to your own people much more effectively than any of us will ever be able to communicate to them. And I think that's a much better use of your time rather than like kind of trying to re-explain your holidays to Jamaica as like as pilgrimages to help Jamaican people. Just say it's a holiday to Jamaica.
All right. I think that's the end of that one. Appreciate you for coming up.
All right,
Evolve.
give
Have a great
thanks.
rest of your day. Peace. All right. That was definitely too long. I don't know if y'all heard my wife. That was too long. We was talking about too long. Let's go to the next guest. Chili, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hi everybody. I am 31. Race is black, and I'm not really sure how the pronouns work, to be honest with you. So I guess
She, he, they. Choose one.
she.
All right, talk to us.
All right. So, could interracial relationships be problematic? I say yes to that. Can a black man or a woman marry white and still be pro-black? That's a no. And do interracial relationships benefit the black community? That's a no. Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to expound on those?
Um, I pretty much can piggyback off a lot of the stuff that people have been saying. I pretty much agree with the points that people have been making, especially with the pro-black. I have dated outside of my race before, but I definitely changed that a while back when I became woke. But I used to have that notion of, you can still be pro-black and still date outside your race until, you broke down the definition of what it is, and it made more sense because then, you're pro-black all the way. So I agree with that view. So it definitely changed my thoughts on that for sure.
It's pro-blackness is definitely a lifestyle choice for
Hmm.
black people. It's a choice though. It's when you choose the lifestyle of building with your people. So it's like
Yeah.
it's intentional. It's not just I happened to stumble onto love and who knew I just fell in love with a white girl. Like it's not. You
Yeah.
gotta be intentional. Like yo,
Your mic keeps going out.
Your mic is gone, Dr. Legend.
Maybe it's dying. It could be dying, like a little battery.
so you
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. So yeah, I was saying it's about being intentional. An intentional brother would say, I want to build with my community. I gotta choose a sister that I can build with my purpose, what aligns with my purpose. I'm trying to do that with a sister because I want to do it with my community. So yeah, that's the thing is some people think you can just stumble into pro-blackness
and you can be with a black woman and still not be pro-black.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, all right. Well, shout out to you. I think you brought us back to the Zen mode. You brought us back. I need an African word for Zen, man. She brought us back to balance. What's that? What's the Bantu word for balance, y'all? I need a Swahili or something. Yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
crazy. My
Appreciate
daughter's
that.
name's Swahili though. Her name is Zuri, so it's Swahili. So,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would
Shout
say
out to the little
tranquility,
queen.
but
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Salama, Sister Molly said, Molly, where are you from? Why you know so much about why she know so much? Molly know a lot. Like she be putting us on. But appreciate you,
Okay.
Molly. All right. I'm gonna go to the next guest. Goddess, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
28. I'm a Black Trinidadian woman, and I am a cisgender female.
All right, talk to us.
I believe that interracial relationships can be problematic, and let's see, I'm trying to read. I don't believe that someone that's black can be pro-black if they're married to a Caucasian. And I don't believe interracial relationships can benefit the community.
Okay.
I used to get out of my race quite some time ago, and I actually made a smart decision to date within my race, and I found the love of my life, which is a black man.
That's
I don't
good.
judge people who do it. I don't, because I try to mind my business. I don't judge those who do it, but eventually you realize that they can't understand what you're going through and what your gripe is, how uncomfortable you might be in public around a large group of Caucasians, because I feel that way sometimes. And my former partners who were Caucasian would not understand how I felt.
Mm. Mr. Da Vinci, you got to turn on your camera when you join the live. That's why you got dropped. TikTok is going to do that. But anyway, okay, yeah. That's sounds like you learned the hard way, but you figured it out.
Yes, I did. I did learn the hard way, but I'm really glad that I figured it out.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to the Trinidadian brothers and sisters. I need some of that roti, man. I need some of that roti. Like I miss it in Brooklyn.
That's it.
Oh my god. I don't know about Jamaican roti. I never had no Jamaican version of roti. I had Trinidadian roti.
Come on, Sabino. Come on,
Y'all,
mute. It won't let me mute. Can you mute?
yeah, I got you. Y'all be putting all type of meat and spices in that roti, man. The bread. I miss Brooklyn. I live in Texas now. I miss Brooklyn. But anyway. No, Jamaican food is good too. I don't think they got roti, man. I don't know. Jamaican food is alright, I like Jamaican food too. You know what I'm saying? Trinidadians, I don't know. They might be. I don't want to start no, Nigerian, Ghanaian
No,
jollof war.
we not known for roti, so that's fine.
Yeah, y'all known for they got them beef patties on lock, and then they got all type of jerk this, jerk that. Y'all jerk everything. Yeah, but Goddess, do you want to answer the last question as well?
What is the last one? I cannot see it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. The last question.
The community.
Yeah, do interracial relationships benefit the Black community?
I do not believe so. I definitely don't. I believe it might benefit the person who's not black in a relationship, but I don't believe it's beneficial to the community for black people whatsoever.
All right. Sounds like we got some conscious Pan Africans in Trinidad. I'm glad to hear it. I had some of your coolie counterparts come up here and give Trinidad a bad rap.
So I'm glad to hear the Trinidadian brothers and sisters got some consciousness down there. My goodness. Um, I myself am not Trinidadian, but I was raised around a lot of like my Trinidadian people, like my family back home. But anyway, appreciate you, goddess. Thank you for giving us that word.
Thank you for having me.
All right, one love. Mr. Da Vinci, you're the last guest of the night. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Now you're muted and can't unmute. Hold on. I think you can't unmute. I sent the request. Might be something wrong with your phone.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit of like a service issue.
Yeah. Oops. Well, that was an accident.
We asking to make or asking to be unmuted, but I don't
did.
think
I
so.
did it.
Oh.
I can't do it. It won't let me do it twice. So I'm sorry, Mr. Da Vinci. Kwame, what's going on?
Man, what's going on, brother?
Peace.
Peace, brother.
Could you I could tell you a brother, but could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, black and 40.
All right.
Indeed.
Talk to us.
So my answer is twofold. You know what I'm saying? And no, I don't. I know it doesn't benefit Black culture, Pan African culture as a whole. What I do feel that a certain part of our culture feel that it's necessary, and I feel that it benefits, sisters more than it benefits anybody else. You know what I mean? So that can go left. You know what I mean? So that's my twofold.
I could barely see what you're saying.
Okay,
Like if I squint with binoculars.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Now
Yeah.
it doesn't benefit at all, right?
Right. It's not beneficial, but yeah.
Right. Now, let's just say me and a sister are in any type of situation where we're opposing. Let's just say in an argument. Let's just say with a child. Let's just say with divorce, right? In those three situations, the sister in this hypothetical situation is going to call, quote unquote, the man. You see what I'm saying? In all three situations, when a man looks at the sister and he looks at the brother, he's going to side with the sister because she's easily controlled by money. She's easily controlled with ego. She's easily controlled with placements. I'll give you house. I'll give you Medicare. I'll give you food stamps. I'll give you money. All you got to do is separate yourself from him. I mean, that's what's happening for the last 50 years anyway. You see what I'm saying? So, that's why I say it can go left. And people always ask in many of the classrooms, conversations, speakeasies that I am, like, how can we get our culture back, right? Our power has always been our unity, right? So the only way to get it back, right, is our sisters. Our sister, like I said, I don't want to go too far left, but they disconnected us from our land. That didn't work. They beat us to death. That didn't work. They stripped our language. We not only conquered their broken language, but made sub-languages so they couldn't understand what we talk about in their original broken language. So we done so much and they couldn't figure out, like, damn, what is it? It took them to the 50s and the 60s to figure out, like, their strength is actually their women. Because in their culture, women are second-class citizens. So they was like, damn, their land, their gold, their language, those are things that are important to them, or first for them. Their women has always been last on the list. So when they found out, like, hold on, y'all really love y'all women? Oh, okay. Hey, listen, I got this government cheese for you. and I got these projects for you. All you got to do is put the man out. This is what literally happens. Oh, y'all not getting along? Come down to this office. We'll get him straight to prison anytime he can't pay these dues. And this is what literally happens. So when I talk to sisters, and it could be like 40, 50 people, even 100 people, and I say, by a show of hands, all you sisters that say Black Lives Matter, all you sisters that mad at George Floyd, from Timid to Martin to George Floyd, you upset. How many of y'all upset? And all the sisters will raise their hands. All the Erykah Badu do-rags and the door knockers. Yes, brother. Now, how many of y'all got your men, boyfriends, baby daddies on child support? Keep your hands up now. The same people that put that knee on that man's neck is the same system that's signing them checks. And they don't want to hit it. Well, nah, Rodney and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, sisters, I'm a single parent as well. I don't have them on child support. Well, what do? I pay for daycare, pay for private school.
Y'all, wait, hold on, because the comments going crazy on you right now.
Oh, listen, I don't care.
I didn't hear what he said nothing wrong. If y'all heard what he said something wrong, please let me know. But he's talking. I feel like he's indicting the system more than he's indicting Black women. I feel like he's speaking to sisters that do support the what is it called? Child support system. Listen, that is a form of modern day slavery.
It is. You know what?
Let's not get it twisted. Throwing a man in jail does not help him raise his child.
Indeed.
That's not that. And you'd be surprised how many brothers are not in jail because of violent crimes. They're in jail because they couldn't pay child support.
One of the most powerful women I've ever met, right? And it's not biased, just overlooking her body of work, from being a Dominican woman that barely spoke English to coming over here, raising families, my grandmother, right? So one day, because I knew my grandmother and my grandfather had money, and I'm like, Grandma, why don't you tell Grandpa, at my young age, I said, why don't you tell Grandpa to buy you some jewelry? Because my dad wore 2 nugget rings and chains and everything like that. So buy you some jewelry. And she said, baby, I don't need to be adorned. The mannequins need to be adorned. I said, Grandma, that's a good thing. She said, no, those are showpieces. I'm your grandfather's partner. That is what real love is. Not you putting jewelry on somebody and buying them something and putting them in a window for everybody to see, but has no access to power, has no access to his heart, has no access. You see what I'm saying? That is true.
I'm not.
So what I'm saying is that unity and equality in our community was always our power. I feel that the sisters, because of the weight of being ostracized, just like us, from finances, from civil rights, they chose. No, don't get me wrong. We haven't always been good to each other in a transition from being slaves to free and everything like that. But one thing we had commonly is, like, we know who the enemy is, right? Because, and there's this saying is that if a man can't take care of his child, they got prison for him. If a woman can't take care of their child, they got assistance. And I don't know, all the people that's coming at me, just listen, you don't have to do big research. Go on Google. This is a strategy made by the FBI to separate us from each other. And all it took was a small apartment and some cheese. Now, don't get me wrong. The government cheese is good. Don't get me wrong.
Would you say that most sisters take the cheese?
They do. Now, I wouldn't say, listen,
that's where you lose me.
I wouldn't say most.
We can talk about everything you're saying. We can talk about, but you cannot generalize that sisters all feel this way.
I didn't say all. You said most. You know what I'm saying?
Most. I still wouldn't say that most sisters feel this way. Because sisters are the least likely to call the police than anybody else.
So, see, and this is the thing, brother. What I don't do, I don't point fingers, right? So I don't care about anybody else. I care about us. See, me. So, and I I don't talk about what I don't do. I don't call nobody. If I have an issue with a sister or a mother or a brother, I handle it depending on the situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you break in my house, then the last person you're going to have to worry about is the police. But in our community, right, we are the only ones that don't stick together. You know what I'm saying? Now, other communities can do that because they have generational wealth. We are behind the eight ball, right? So we can't do what they do, nor should we want to. So the only way that we can have generational wealth, we can have community, we can have strength, we can have banks, we can have hospitals. We have to. This is why they destroyed Black Wall Street. The unity
All right,
scared them.
we can't go down too much of that rabbit hole because
brother.
they gave you 5 Panther paws, but
Yeah.
stick around. We're gonna talk about it amongst ourselves. I gotta figure out what the discourse is, what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So hold on just a moment. All right.
It's just accountability. That's all.
All right.
So
let's break it down. Who want to go first?
okay.
Swan, go ahead.
So the thing is, a lot of times when we hear that mentality that he's got, right? Because he didn't speak to how the issues with the system, right? He didn't speak to how to unify specifically as a community. I think that I took that as punching down. I literally took, I'm just going to say it. I took that as punching down because he was almost kind of like, almost making it seem like it was our fault. You know what I mean?
I didn't hear him say that though.
But the thing is, right, I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of times, especially when we get into these conversations on online, we do hear a certain group. This is a small group of they're loud, but there's a small group and they're loud. But we
I
hear a
thought he
group
was
of
talking about. I thought he was talking about these type of
He was
he didn't.
definitely
That's the
punching
thing,
down
though.
on black
He
women.
he didn't mention interracial. He kind of
That's
mentioned
where he
interracial.
started at. He was saying that when sisters like this end up with fellas like him, that they're co-opting the same system, that it does benefit them because the system has made it such that it does benefit them. These men are more able to provide for children. These men are able to have more generational wealth. But these men are the reason why black men don't have generational wealth. So it is a system built to divide black men and black women. And sisters like this may not see it that way, but they are taking the bait.
I understand that aspect of it, but I think it would be far more productive to talk about the importance of black men and black women being together. And maybe I'm just looking at this from the wrong perspective.
What I'm
But
saying is, I hear that. I mean, yeah, he could have gave it a different spin, but when someone come up here talking about why brothers are with snow bunnies, we don't make it a spin about why brothers should be with sisters. I feel like like he might have. Right, like Hoodoo said, he was suspect. I'll give him that. He was a little brash, but I would say when I was listening to what he was saying, I was not thinking about black women. I was thinking about how he was speaking about how there is a system of division created by these men right here that incentivize or give upward mobility to black women that black men cannot give to black women. Like they created the system to be that way intentionally to divide us. And then part of what he brought up about child support is a continuation of that division. They will throw your men in jail. They will throw your men in jail because they can't do and provide the same way he can. But he's the one that created the laws that will throw your men in jail. They will literally separate us physically from each other. So that's once again, it's an incentive where, if you go on the other side, the statistics are you're not going to have them same problems.
black women understand. You don't feel like black women understand that, and we understand that to our own detriment at times.
Not talking about black women. We see that's the thing. When he was talking, I felt like he was talking about black women that do this. I didn't think he was talking about blanket black women. Now, when he said most, that's when he lost me because most black women don't do this.
Right.
So that's when he lost me.
He may have started with the interracial dynamic, but he definitely veered off into just talking about black men and black women. He was even using tropes in the midst of that. That fed into the welfare queen
What
trope.
trope?
The welfare queen trope, saying that sisters use the system. Like, what? And then like we leverage off of child support. I don't know no regular women who are getting a leg up in life off of child support. Like,
Yeah.
that is a crazy argument to make. And it's not because we don't know the reality of where defaulting on child support can lead to, but to bring it's a very disingenuous and lazy analysis that men like that do, because to bring up child support in that capacity and not mention that that in some of those instances it's someone choosing not to support their child. Even if someone says that the support is not enough, you're simply not there. You're not there physically, you're not there emotionally, you're not there financially.
Why are they not there?
Sorry?
Why are they not there?
A number of reasons, and I'm not saying in all situations it's any one reason. We know
But I'm saying, who is the reason that created the conditions for those men not to be there?
I'm not discounting that. I'm not discounting that at all.
But the same people that is the reason that they're not there is the same reason that will throw him in jail for not being there. So that's where it becomes an intentional trap.
Yes, but and I'm acknowledging that part, but I'm also acknowledging the choice that some people make to not be present for their children. So to indict someone, I don't care if it's the mother or the father, to indict someone for using a tool to hopefully try to hold that other parent accountable in some aspect is weird to me. But if you're not going to acknowledge the fact that some people are running from the responsibility of being a parent. And again, I'm not ignoring the reality that there are traps in these systems. I'm not ignoring that at all. I'm not ignoring the way that
I think a lot of
black men
us
are unemployed
don't.
or underemployed. I'm not ignoring any of that.
No,
I am
but
saying that some people are intentionally not supporting their children. And I'm not going to begrudge a present parent for trying to hold the other parent accountable. That's not fair.
It's not fair. I understand that, but throwing a black man into slavery is also not fair.
No,
like I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. If a brother like sister Niani in Los Angeles was, making his woman feel unsafe, you know what I'm saying? That's real. Like, call the police. Sisters, call the police in that scenario. There's no one else you can call. There is no Black Panthers to come and handle that man and make sure that a black woman is safe. That's the reason they're the most unprotected, because there's nobody that can protect black women. But you see what happened when police got there. She ain't here with us today. But there are scenarios where that could actually do some good, and it's worth risking your life if your life is already at risk in presence of a black man. So that I understand, right? When it comes to child support, I think a lot of us need to dig more into research on what happens to men that are on child support. Do more statistical analysis on that child support system, because there were things about it that I didn't know, that my wife didn't know. That it's not just, oh, they're going to take a piece of your check, and if you don't do it, you go to jail. When you are on child support, it can stop you from getting a job. It can stop you from getting a house. It's basically, it puts you in a second-class citizenship. And I understand that some brothers need the stick, the carrot and the stick. I understand that some brothers need the stick, but the stick ain't going to make a man a better father. And putting him in jail for a crime where, even if you want to consider, I believe it should be a crime to be a man that abandons his child. But at the same time, in this context, as we are currently oppressed, it is something that is solely beneficial to the mother in that scenario to do. But is it beneficial to the community that he is the one that created the system to do it? That's when it becomes problematic, because as we are currently oppressed, this is something that is used to throw black men in jail, who are in jail more than sisters, let's be honest. Brothers fill up the prisons. And so I just say when we talk about this, I think we need to look at it from both sides. Like I understand it's wrong that a brother leave, a child behind. I would never do that, and I would tell any brother, that our allegiance is to black women. Fatherless homes is the reason for, a lot of the disenfranchisement we see in our community. However, the system punishing them the way that they do is not to repair the home. It's really just to put the man in there to go work for McDonald's. I don't know if y'all know what's going on in Alabama, but McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and KFC have been using convict leasing to get prisoners to work for free in their restaurants. These prisoners, even though they left a black woman with a child, working for free for the white man is not fixing the problem. And he knows that. We can all agree that walking away from a woman with your child is wrong, but he ain't the one that's going to fix that. This person right here, this marshmallow man, you know what I'm talking about. He's not the one that should be fixed. He's not going to build any system to fix our homes.
But we're asking for.
I'm not defending what that brother was saying now. Now we're in a different conversation, by the way.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, we're asking for the balanced view. And I know you said you weren't defending what he was saying, but that's what he wasn't doing to me.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I can't co-sign
you know
that.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if we're having a balanced argument, it can't be the fault of the custodial parent for holding that other person accountable. And you don't get put in jail when you get put on child support. You get put in jail for defaulting sometimes, because not even all the time does that happen.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
child
and
support
it's
is the
not.
reason that you go to jail when you
Yeah,
can't
but you
afford to pay it. And then who's the most unemployed demographic in America? Who is it going to? Who is most likely going to fall into this trap?
That
Like they
doesn't.
know that.
But I think it's also worth saying that it's not a benefit to the custodial parent, because when that person defaults on their child support, it is making that custodial parent's job to parent even more difficult, outside of presumably the lack of physical presence. There's already a monetary gap that's there. And oftentimes that child support is not really 50-50. It's not halvesies. It's
But
a
here's my
portion
thing,
of
right?
the
Here's my
financial
thing, right?
responsibility.
But here's my thing, and this is where I think y'all have a blind spot. If a woman cannot take care of her child, right? And or rather, she can take care of the child in many scenarios, but maybe doesn't have the means to do so. Maybe the environment is what these people will see as hazardous. They will come and take your child out the home and pay someone else to have to take care of your child. I know this for a fact
which is
because I
crazy.
know mothers that take care of them children, and they get paid monthly. So that being the case, why they don't got none of that money to give y'all, but instead will lock him up so he could go make money for them, ruin his life so he can't have generational wealth. He can't do nothing for himself. He can't get a job now. He can't. You see what I'm saying? So they will do all of that, but they'll pay a white T couple, a white T LGBT couple to raise your black child. So this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's still not the answer. Like, I understand the accountability is needed, but they not the ones that we should be going to for the answer. And unfortunately, I know that a lot of sisters, end up in this scenario, and it's on a, it may seem like the only way out. But I do wish to see more sisters speaking out against the child support system instead of running to it for help when they've been hurt by someone that has walked away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would wish to see more sisters saying, "You know what? We ain't doing it. You're locking our men up. We got to stop this."
But then what is their recourse?
If they gave a damn, right? I know for a fact in New Jersey, you get $700 a month per child for foster care, like to take care of children. If so, first of all, $700 a month. Maybe.
No, I mean the women, not the state.
What do you mean? Like, what other options are there?
Yeah, because I mean,
what we're talking about is reform. We're not talking about options that currently exist. We're talking about more I don't want to call it more pushback. We're talking about sisters having more pushback about this topic particularly as well, instead of running to it for help, which I understand there's no other option. Sometimes a sister got to do what she got to do. I understand that. But there should also be people calling out this part of the system the same way we'll call out police when someone is unalived. Like it's an oppressive system.
I don't know, Brother
I
Legend. I
can
don't
I
know
say
about that.
I feel like okay, so I definitely understand the problem with the system, right? Like they a lot of people don't know that when you go to family court, when you go through the child support unit, there's a pay cut that they are literally keeping for themselves, right? That whole entire system is paying everybody that works in it, and it takes money away from children, right? But I think that the part that, because we hear this conversation a lot, and I think the part that gets left out is what's going on between black men and black women. And I'm not saying this is on a major scale, but I feel like that part has got to be addressed, right? We could talk about the system and all of the issues. We understand that that is problematic, but I think we're talking about black men and black women and understanding in the importance of family and understanding the importance of marriage. I feel like that's a far more effective route to go. A lot of times we hear black men weaponize this against single mothers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I hear black men saying black single mothers are the downfall of the community. And I know it's the bad actors. I do understand that.
Yeah,
But it does,
it's COON behavior
it
to
is.
blame a black woman for what men do.
And that's what he was getting. I understand what you're
I
saying
don't
in
want to
terms
go
of the
back to what he
system.
was saying. I'm talking about indicting the system the way we have indicted so many other systems. A lot of sisters need to, as well as brothers, need to start speaking out against child support. It is not helping us. If child support was helping us, it would have helped. It don't help. It can help an individual in a certain scenario. Shout out to whoever sent the gift to Sister Black Swan. That's fire. But it is not a system that is helping our people. If that was the case, then it would be helping. It's not, and I'm not, and just because I'm saying that the system is not helping doesn't mean I'm saying sisters shouldn't go to child support if they're in dire need and need to use it. But at the same time, the unwillingness, even right now, to call out this system is troubling. I'll
Who
be
was
honest.
unwilling?
I'm just saying.
Who was
I'm just saying.
we led with that though. But
Okay.
I think it's unfair to put that burden on women when men are saying it's hurting us the most. Y'all need to take up this mantle.
I
Like
feel
that's
like they're trying to. They just don't have the words because too many of them that have been affected by the system get that same patriarchal attitude and they try to bring patriarchy to the cookout. So of course they're going to say it wrong. Of course they're going to, what I've done with my platform, I feel like is try to unpack the patriarchy from a lot of these, what these brothers be saying, and try to say it in a way that's actually going to be some sort of solution. But we're going to have to put our weapons down and try to hear each other out sometimes. And I know it's more entertaining for us to be up here arguing with each other, but the white man's child support is not helping us. If it was, it would have helped us. A lot of us today were raised on the child support of yesterday. Our community is in no better position because of child support. So, that being the case, we can look at the effects of child support and how many black men are locked up in jail. Look up the statistics. It's alarming, y'all. Look up the statistics on how many black men are not in jail because they tried to sell a drug. They're not in jail because they tried to poo-poo somebody. They're in jail because they had a child with someone they didn't want to have a child with. And it is their fault. As men, we understand that we have to hold them responsible. But at some point, can we look over that? Like I'm not saying dismiss it, but I'm like saying let's look above just blaming black men. Let's get to the part where the system that has done so much harm to our community should not be the one we run to answer that problem.
Exactly. Like the problem is that running to the system that is literally benefiting off of their mass incarceration is not going to ultimately help them in the long run. Like, cause see, the problem is that, all right, the fact that imprisonment is the option, like the fact that imprisonment is even on the table is extremely problematic, because we already know that mass incarceration disproportionately affects people of African ancestry, and men in particular, black men in particular, are very much so impacted by that. But just because you're not able to pay for certain things, or if you go into the rears when it comes to child support, they're willing to lock you up and remove your status as being able to vote, remove your ability to be able to make your own decisions on a day-to-day basis, to lock you up.
That's way too far, y'all. I
Exactly.
understand we need accountability, but that is too far. You know how many brothers are going to jail? You know what happens in jails? Like, we're going too far. This system is not the one.
Exactly.
I ain't saying that there aren't women who, or people rather, because I've seen men do this too, who weaponize the state. However, I think there's an easy way to avoid child support, and that is by being consistent and accountable.
No, it's not always easy, because sometimes,
Again, I'm saying people who weaponize aside, those people aside, because those people are just people who are looking for an opportunity,
it's
right?
but that's the thing. The world that we live in doesn't make it easy. Like
How
once
doesn't it?
again, we need to stop blaming poor behavior on black men. You understand that any black man that walks away from a child is a recipient of multi-generational trauma brought on by slavery, right? You understand like what's going on in the psyche of black people today. Like, we do not blame ourselves for our own systemic issues. Yes, we can hold ourselves personally accountable to quell the effects of the system in which we've been imposed to. We understand that. But
I don't think you
my
understanding
thing
what I'm
is, we talk
saying.
about this in so many other ways, and I'm not defending how that brother came up here and started talking. So y'all can't keep bringing that back up
I'm not
and
bringing
saying
him
that.
up.
But I'm
I don't
saying,
think you understanding what I'm saying. When
okay,
I say consistent and accountable, because remember, let's just use like a pretend scenario, right? If I have a child with a man for whatever reason, we're no longer together, and we're trying to avoid child support, right? So I'm not going to court. And the one thing that I said is the way, aside from the people who are going to weaponize a situation, the way to avoid child support is by being consistent and accountable. I didn't say it had to be according to some mathematical like calculation of a number. It's if you say that you're gonna contribute $100 a week because that's what you have right now, then every week you show up with that $100. Or if you say I'm on hard times right now, I can't contribute any dollars, but you know what, I can pick that child up from school every day, I can do bedtime, I can do baths, whatever it is, then okay, cool. Like we're working with where you are in this moment, and I can count on you to be there and show up in whatever capacity we agree to on a regular basis. But when you play with people and you agree to something that you do not keep up with, every other couple of months you
then
$50
throw him to
here,
massa. Throw him in the
and that,
throw him in the gulag. Go
and
ahead, yeah,
that's
whip
what I
him, massa. Go
that's
ahead,
what I
nah,
was.
take him now. He done messed
No,
up. He said he could do something.
I'm not saying you lock him up, but I'm saying that is what, in my mind, child support is for people who can't come to an agreement or who are not reliable. Because if I can rely on you to keep your word, whatever your word is, then why do I need the court? In that capacity, the court might give less money. Like we said, they taking some of the money out. If we can agree to things on our own outside of the court, what do I need the child support for? I don't need that. It's I know he's going to show up as a father. He's responsible, and whatever it is that he tells me he has to give, or if I can count on him for other things outside of money, that's what it is. And we're gonna do whatever we need to do to make sure that child is taken care of. The accountability and responsibility is a major part. If you're dealing with halfway reasonable people, you can avoid child support. So I think I'm not disagreeing with the things that the state does. I'm just saying that people can avoid child support if
On a
people are
personal level with accountability. And I have said that over and over and over and over and over again. But when are we going to shift focus back to what I'm talking about? The system of child support in America is collecting black men's bodies, and it shouldn't be. I understand once again, and you're saying that personal accountability is easy. I understand that you feel that way. $100 a week might be easy
I
for a
didn't say
brother
it
when
was
he's up,
easy. I
but
didn't say
then
it was
but then
easy.
over time, let's say he does become a victim of the most unemployed demographic in America, and he can't afford child support 1 week. Let's say he can't afford it 1 week. Let's say something happens. Now that this sister can't afford to do what for her child, what she has to do, now she goes to the man. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but what I'm saying is, as we live in this condition where even if a woman feels unsafe, she has to call the police because there is no black institution of protection for black women, then we also can speak up against the police. We can speak about justice reform. We can say Black Lives Matter in the street. I'm still calling the police if somebody try to break in this house while my woman is in here. I'm still telling my woman to call the police if someone try to rob her or something. If something goes on in my house, the police are getting called. But at the same time, we can still speak up against the system. And so I'm not saying that the system of child support in itself and accountability should be and I feel like y'all keep taking it back to me trying to not hold black men accountable. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what these other dudes in these gender war lives y'all be on. This is a Pan-African live. This is a black extremist live. This is a black love extremist live. My bad. Black love extremist live. But yes, absolutely, I am extreme for my people, and I think about solutions for my people all the time. And when I look at how many brothers is locked up in jail because they can't pay child support, I know that instead the system should be getting those brothers real jobs to help you. They should force them into a job before they force them into a cell. The same way they give you $700 to take someone else's child, they should give that to the mother. So she get more than $100 a week. So why does child support mean putting the man in jail? That's the problem with what you're saying. Is that if a man cannot take care of the child, or a man chooses to be future and don't want to take care of his child, then that man deserves to get the worst treatment that massa can give him. And
I
I
didn't
don't
say
think that's
that.
right.
To be fair,
I know
I
you're
did
not
say
saying that. I know
I
you're
didn't
not saying that.
advocate
But
for
what
that
I'm trying to
either.
say is, at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. I know you're saying he can easily avoid that by having it. And I say it's not as easy to avoid it as it is for him, because a white T man can make sure he can get a job. A white T man can make sure that he can start a business and get a loan. A white T man can make sure that he can get property, own a house, and has generational wealth. He controls the means for hiring, firing, and production in this country. CEOs, he don't even need a degree in order to get what you got. He can have a high school diploma and get the same thing a brother can get with a master's degree. And so that being the case, brothers do have a harder time. So I'm not saying it isn't easy for some, but some people it's not easy. And for that, the punishment should be that we don't focus on punishment. What should happen next is the woman gets the help she needs to take care of the child. Throwing that man in jail don't help her. How have they been able to convince us that it is helpful to throw a man in jail? That don't help nobody. What's helpful is getting the sister the resources, the support she needs, making sure that she has a house, making sure that she can get even a grant. How about this? Why can't the American government give you grants to get homes? If you are a mother in a fatherless situation, they should make sure that you can get a home, own a home, not rent on Section 8. They should make sure you can own a home with some land. They should make sure that your child can get the resources they need so that you can either homeschool them, you can get them any school they want, because they can afford this when they give it to these non-black parents that adopt your children. There are things set in place to make it easier for them. So this is what I'm saying. Child support is not helping us. But
And,
I understand right now we have no other choice. And
let's
as we have no other choice, I hope to see more brothers and sisters. I ain't saying everybody. I'm not saying just the sisters. I'm saying brothers and sisters need to start speaking up more because that child support system is collecting black bodies. I thank God I never got involved in that mess. I married my woman. I was intentional before having any children. So, I thank God I never got into that mess. I didn't know how deep it was until I looked this stuff up. I'm like, me and my wife told me. She was like, she knows men, because she's from Philly. She knows men that stay in relationships that are toxic, being abused. Understand, we talked about this before. I know what happens when you bring up, just black men by themselves. We talked about this before, but there are a lot of black men that end up in abusive relationships. Not just a lot of them. So she knows brothers that's in relationships with women they shouldn't be in relationships with, that stay in those relationships because they don't want to go. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to lose their job. How is this healthy? How is this is the father that you want for your child? Someone that's scared to leave? This is no good. I think we gotta call for reform on all levels when it comes to this. This is part of systemic oppression.
absolutely. And like the problem is a lot of times that, even YT men, like we already know statistically speaking that if YT men have a criminal record, they're still more likely to gain employment opportunities than a black man is, even if he has a degree. Like a black man with a degree is less likely to get a call back than a YT man is with a record. Like that's a whole statistic. And like for us to encourage that, like, okay, well then the only option that the system that is literally oppressing us is the system, is the option that we should be consistently choosing. Like that is very, very dangerous for us. That's a very slippery slope for us to be falling into. Personally, I'm more of the mindset where we need to be creating our own systems to hold our black men accountable for that, because there definitely are black men that very much so need to have a legit, like, okay, if you do not provide for your children, then
you will get a job today. We will guarantee you a job that's paying above minimum wage because America can goddamn afford it. We guarantee any single black father that ran away from that mother will get a job where they can provide for the child, and we are not going to give them jobs in prisons making pennies an hour and just make $50,000 a year off enslaving them. Instead, we will give that $50,000 a year to you, the mother. Even if you do want to get black men thrown in jail, even if you do want to do that, $50,000 a body is how much prisons make. Now imagine they give that $50,000 that they making off your man to the women that put the man in child support in the first place. They're not doing that. That's what I'm saying. And it's the same laws, because it's like the same thing. Like if you want to stay out of jail, then don't have weed on you. If you want to stay out of jail, then don't, I don't know, like common things that brothers and sisters get thrown in jail for. Don't try to defend yourself with a KNIFE when the police show up. Like Sister Niani, or don't be with a man like Breonna Taylor was if you don't want to get pew pew like this. That's what I'm saying. When we put the accountability of how the system reacts to bad actors in our community on black people in general, or black people, or the black people in that scenario, then that's when it becomes problematic, because the system should not be doing what it's doing. The system could do a lot better, and it's just not.
Like Queens, like we're not, and by stating the facts of the situation is not us making excuses. It's literally just stating the facts. Like this is how they respond to black men. And stating that this is how they respond to black men is the only way in which these systems and constructs that oppress the black community collectively as a whole can be dismantled and addressed. Like they oppress black women and they oppress black men. They oppress black women differently in certain aspects, and they oppress black men differently in certain aspects. And they keep us in these perpetual states of oppression in order for the purpose of us to start combating each other, saying, well, I'm more oppressed. Well, actually, no, I got this going on with me. Well, no, I got this going on. And they'd use different facets of that oppression to keep us continuously engaging in this back and forth with each other. And then they provide you only with systems in which that only put money into their pocket, but always keep you in a status of, oh yeah, he deadbeat, so I'm just go ahead and call whoever I need to call in order to make sure that I get that I get the paycheck that he's supposed to be giving me, which yes, he is supposed to be providing for that family that he created.
Yeah, right. He is.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But it's just like it's choosing the system that is literally benefiting, that is a multi-billion-dollar industry benefiting from from the man that's supposed to be the father of your children, the man that's supposed to be the provider within that family dynamic, if that's the type of dynamic that you want to have with your man, then choosing to have that individual be at the mercy of the courts, the court system that is going to that has systematically oppressed him and every single member of the black male demographic before him throughout the entire inception of this country's existence, it's not going to help in any way, shape, or form at all. They're never
You know
going
what I
to
just realized, Timothy?
Yeah.
This should be a topic of our conversation as well.
Yeah.
When we have the live. All right, so we got child support. Yeah, this is what we gotta talk about with the brothers. This is what we gotta talk about with the brothers, and we gotta articulate it because as men that have worked to dismantle and understand patriarchy from the frame, from the teachings of women, we've been able to articulate things in a more balanced way, a more nuanced way, and I think a lot of brothers don't know how to use the words that you're using right now. So that's another thing.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in agreement. I'm definitely putting that down in the notes, King.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can do a live on massage tomorrow, but if we do a live on that, I would want a sister to host. To be honest, I'm not saying brothers can't come up, but you know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? We on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen. We do one on that. I'm definitely gonna want a sister to host. Might have my wife do it. She over there taking notes. But yeah. But yeah. All right, y'all. I gotta go to sleep, man. I got work in the morning. I got mad love for y'all. Thank you for another excellent live. And shout out to Black Swan, Timothy, Tia, and Africa Debunked for joining me. Everybody, don't forget to join b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. I judge Thin Lipians by their ability to self-reflect and be anti-racist. And I judge brothers and sisters by how they answer the call to unify with their people. b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. Come unify with us off of this app. We're not just here to entertain you. We're here to grow and build our community up with you. All the Pan-Africans, please join b1initiative.org. It's a Discord. When you click the link, there's a Discord it will take you to. If you're Pan-African, if you're a Garveyite, brothers and sisters, we having these conversations and more in there. It's a think tank. We got hours of lectures and scholars and books, and we got Pan-Africans from all across the world that have joined our nonprofit, soon to be officially formed. So if you want to donate to the nonprofit, Bring Down Babylon, that's the Cash App for it. Appreciate the gifts, everybody. Line B. Shout out to everybody that sent in Panther Paws. Shout out my moderator, Leisha. Shout out Francesca. Leisha, we gotta get you as a moderator in the Discord as well, because we about to start running this more militant, man. We gotta link up, y'all. We gotta link up. We gotta be way more militant. You know what I'm saying? Because this live, as entertaining as it can seem, is really not just focused on entertainment. I want us to come together and start moving as a unit for real. So,
All right, Brother Legend.
Yeah.
Blair Moon, I don't understand why you're still here.
Who?
Blair Moon. I don't understand why you're still here speaking against, like, you've been dragging black men for like a good hour and a half now. Like, aren't you tired? This clearly ain't your space.
She is
Like,
a
go
bad
run to
actor.
Paul. Yeah, like, go run to Paul or Jake or whatever the hell that white team man you got name is. We don't care. Like, you have been, like, searching for validation this entire time, talking about how all the anti-black things you can trump up. I'm not mad. I don't care. Go somewhere else. Like, why are you
And
here?
here's
Nah,
the
You don't
thing.
have no
yeah,
friends here.
we
The thing
don't do
about it
that.
though is that I think that if she was truly happy where she was, you don't hear happy people in their relationships getting online trolling other people. Like
Exactly.
if you're
No, she's
really
a fake
happy, you're
account.
not online
She's
trolling other
she's a fake
people.
account. She's a
Like,
fake
she was
account for
just in
sure.
there talking about something, have a baby, my baby be on welfare. Like, girl, move around. Like, this is not your, this, you don't go here. And we can tell. And I don't
Yeah.
know who you're trying to convince to go white, but it's not happening here. Go
And
somewhere
Nah.
else.
to be clear, I think very much so that she's a fake account. You can kind of tell by the profile picture, no followers, yet she follows over 1,600 some. I think it's a YT male, probably more than likely, because the way that they've been kind of up in the comment section and how they've been talking, it's just like, okay, only a YT male who's pretending to be a black woman,
That
or
is not a YT male. They know way
All right,
too
so
much.
somebody block that person. All
yeah,
right.
definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, we're not doing that. This is a black unifying space. I try to make topics where we can talk about, things that go on in our community without being divisive. But we do want to have a more nuanced space. I might just start hosting subscriber only lives. Actually, I am going to do it. Monday and Tuesday of next week, it'll be a subscriber only live. And then I want to start hosting discussions in the Discord as well. We have almost 500 people in there. So I think it's about time we start having discussions in there where it can actually be just us. And we can actually talk how we want to talk because there's no filter in Discord. So if anybody wants to be there for those discussions, we can do that as well. And I'm also going to start hosting a Twitter space as well, X or whatever you want to call it. Find me on Twitter. Exactly. Let's build our base. Someone said it. I'm not sure, if you're Pan African or not, but everybody, we're building a community here. We're not just here to entertain and make thin Libyan people feel bad. We're actually here to get Pan Africans together. So appreciate y'all. And I think I said everything. Tia, do you want to close this out, sister?
Oh wait, I can't see. Okay, I'm off mute. Um, if you ain't hopping the tub, make sure you ain't at black business. Okay, hop in the
All
tub before
right.
you hop in that black business. Holy Spirit is going to sleep. The Holy Spirit is tired. They've been overworked today.
All right, y'all. One love. Peace.